Okay, here we go. YouTube says it's live. Twitch says it's live, but I don't know if it is. Twitch doesn't look live.
Twitch is not live yet. YouTube is not live.
YouTube should be live. We should be live on YouTube. It's live for me.
Okay, it's live.
Okay, so YouTube is live, but Twitch did not go live. Okay. We're playing with my emotions today. I see how it goes. Oh, I see how it is. I see how it is. We can play this game. We can play this game. You want to play this game? Fine, let's play this game. Why can you work one time and then not? Aha! Aha! There we go. I think we live on
Twitch
both.
is live, yeah.
Okay, but you said that the... Oh, it says it's unstable. The bitrate is too high.
Twitch is only allowing for 1080p.
Yeah, it's because it's a not partner, so it can't do multiple things, I think. Everything's moving fine, though?
Yep.
Yeah, boy, yes. Looking good. Okay, are they tags or not?
They are tags: South Africa, English, chatting with viewers, visual novel, Steins, KSL, and anime.
Perfect! We're looking good. Okay, it says the bitrate, the average stream bitrate is a bit too high. I don't know how to change that. So if it becomes an issue, we will deal with it. But if it's not an issue, let us begin, shall we? Let us begin.
Let's go.
The new game of Steins Gate. No, it's Chaos Head. But it is that same storyline.
Don't forget to mute on Discord.
視線が空から降ってくる。その瞳はいつも僕を見つめていて、眼差しは熱くて真っ黒な雨雲を突き抜けて、雨のように僕へと降り注ぐ。僕を見るな。雨の冷たさより、背中を預けている瓦礫の冷たさのせいで、さっきから体の震えが止まらない。ひどく寒い。突き刺さってくる誰のものかもわからない天からの視線。それから逃げるように僕はわずかに首を持ち上げて周囲を見回す。
The best thing about playing a Japanese visual novel
そこにあるのは
is that
崩壊した街。
I can just lum and
そ
talk
こに
over
ある
it
のは
because everyone has to read
絶
anyway.
望。そこにあるのは
Oh!
死。そこにあるのは無。誰もいない。誰も動いていない。誰も生きていない。聞こえるのはただ降り続ける雨の音だけ。このまま全てを、生きているものも死んでいるものも全てを優しく包み込んで洗い流してしまうんだろうか。全部の出来事が単なる妄想だったらよかったんだけど、どうやらそうでもないらしい。体が動かない。動かせるのはかろうじて首と瞳だけ。
I have no idea.
体が震えているけど、そんなのただの生理現象でしかない。僕の意志じゃない。僕は身を震わせたいなんて思ってない。僕の自由にならないなら、こんなの僕の体じゃない。あるいは生まれた時から僕は自由なんかじゃなかったかもしれない。心の保管してある場所なんて誰にもわからないんだ。それなのに、一体誰がこの体の中に僕の心があるって言い切れるんだ。でも、だったら僕はどこにいたんだろ 僕はここにいるのかな。僕はどこにもいないのかな。すべてが静止している壊れてしまった世界に、ふと死の雨以外の音が響く。無の中から浮かび上がってくるたった一つの言う。君は誰？その肌が青白く見えるのは
Yo, they call it
雨
pale.
の冷たさに凍えているから、それとも
First introduction, calling
君が
someone
もう
pale
死
is,
んでいるから。
is vile.
でも彼女は震えていなかった。そして前髪で隠れそうになっているその瞳は僕を見るな。ひどく悲しそうにも
It's
見える。
always the pink-haired girl.
狂気じみているようにも見える。何も映していないようにも見える。もしも世界には僕と彼女の二人だけしかいなくて、こうしてお互いだけを永遠に見つめ合っていたら、僕の世界は彼女の瞳に映るものだけになるのかな。彼女の世界は僕の瞳に映るものだけになるのかな。
We love it.
彼女の瞳に映るものは僕。
Nah, 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 nah. Don't give me flashbacks of that.
僕の瞳に映るものは彼女。
Please. Please.
そう考えると世界は途端に矮小化する。
ね
不意に僕の耳に届くとても綺麗なノイズ。彼女はうなだれて
My internet company's
両
gonna
手
hate
を左
me.
右に
I
広
have my
げる。
own stream open, and I'm streaming to two
まるで
platforms at the same
あ
time.
の
My
雨
company's
雲
gonna
の上へ向
they're
けて
gonna
飛び立と
they're
う
gonna
とするか
find
の
me.
ように。あるいはこの雨す
Uncapped,
べて
they
を
said.
受け止めようとするかの
We'll
よう
put
に。
that to the test. Okay, cutscene.
あなたは別に
うなだれた彼女の表情は僕の位置からも伺い知ることができない。雨の薄幕の向こうで君はどんな顔をしている？
殺してあげる。
天使。
She
乱
murking
舞
me.
する光の羽は僕を祝福しているのか、それとも、ああ、そうか、理解したよ。それで僕を殺してくれるんだね。
She's gonna murk me.
ゆっくりと倒れている僕の前に彼女が膝をつく。いまだに彼女はうなだれたまま僕の頭をそっと抱えてくる。僕を見てくれないことに僕はほっとしてただ身を委ねた。
The classic.
耳元でささやき、綺麗なノイズ。でもよく聞こえない。暖かくて柔らかくて優しくて甘美な感触。
I'm
So
sure
they
Betty's dreaming.
麻酔のようで不思議なことに体の震えがゆっくりと収まっていく。彼女のかすかな鼻息が僕の頬をくすぐる。とても甘い匂い。ふと胸に圧迫感を覚えた。彼女の持っていた大きな剣が僕の胸の皮膚を裂き、肉をえぐり、骨の間を縫い、ゆっくりと体の中に沈み込んできている。でも
Okay.
彼女のキスという麻酔にかけられてもう痛みを感じない。こんなにも優しく殺してくれるから不意に切なくなって涙が溢れそうになって、それをごまかすために彼女の頭越しに雨を落とし続けている鈍色の空を見上げた。 空が滲んでいるのは雨のせい、涙のせい。もうあの視線も感じない。もう何もない薄れゆく意識の中で僕は空へと手を伸ばす。誰か教えて。僕たちのあの空はどこへ行ったんだろう。
He's delusional. Okay, we get the opening scene too from the anime. Copyright incoming. That is one hell of an intro to a game, I will say. The man is just dying and then gets killed while he's dying. And he's pissed about it. I mean, he's not pissed about it. Oh, this game's gonna be dark. I don't know why. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. Stabbed with the whole arm. Exactly. She's T-posing. Oh no, she's not. She's getting murdered. What can I expect from a game that was the prerequisite of Steins Gate? It's gonna be messed up, but it's gonna be great. It is giving Doki vibes though, I'm not gonna lie. But I promise you I'm not playing this game like 40 times. I would like to play one playthrough and move on to the next one. We can always come back. He's a Oman! He looks like a goblin. All I'm saying there is pink. All I'm saying is it started off with characters covered in blood. Can see you, but you can't see it. Okay. Turn around, nobody would be there. I'd be sure someone was looking at me. Okay. So he is delusional. The man just has high anxiety, man. Why are we gonna hate? Already got no marks for that. Chuni. It said new tip Chuni. Oh. Who is Chuni? Is it a game? Is that how he laughs? That is a horrible laugh. I can't even hear it and I can tell you it's horrible. Whose eyes are those? Sounds like a great essay. I ain't gonna lie. Oh. Whisper the ceiling, feeling sick and annoyed. Just for the hell of it, I turned around. Oh! And there's no one there. Okay, the one thing I do know about this is that this guy lives inside of a storage container. And I think that's insane. And I think it's cool.
僕の名前は西条匠、17歳、水明学園2年
I think he's lost
と
his
言って
mind.
も学校にはほとんど行ってないけど、
I think he's insane.
まあそれでも勉強はできる方だよ。定期テストはちゃんと受けてる。
He's talking at the ceiling.
頭はいいんだ。
Oh shit, that's all moving things. Whoops. But darkness stimulates the mind, makes it see delusions. Makes it an unknown. Terrible things lurking within the darkness. Whenever a scary delusion popped into my head, my mind always ran away with it. Kept talking to try and shake it out of my
僕は
mind.
現在アウェイじゃなかった。渋谷で一人暮らしをしてる。この紅会館ビルは父さんの経営するビル会社の管理下にあるんだけど、
Yeah, it's definitely...
その屋上に設置されたコンテナハウスを格安で借りてるんだ。
See? Shipping container.
街
It
の
looks
環境
cool
は
though.
最悪。
I still can't lie.
僕が住んでる新船町は小さな坂が多いから疲れるし、すぐ近くにラブホ街もあるし。
Think you could live in a storage container? I read I could live in a storage container. Pretty easily.
ここが秋葉なら最
And
高
it
だ
has
ったの
internet
に。
connection, dude. Come on.
ほんと渋谷ってひどい街だ。円数で言うとディーンズバ
So it's the MMORPG. Storage container apartment in Cape Town is 55,000 rand per month. That's fucked up. So he's rich, is what I'm hearing. So he's rich. As a student, he can just afford this. I mean, I know he's living on top of his dad's fucking real estate company top, but still. ESO, huh? A three-letter MMO that takes people's lives. Nah, I don't know of any. Can't think of any. It's too unrealistic. There's no such thing as a three-letter addictive MMORPG. Don't kid yourself. They don't exist. And obviously he's a good player.
というわけでドキュンと恋愛資本主義者が集まるこんな街は即刻滅ぶべきだね。でもこの部屋の住み心地はまあまあ我慢できるレベル。 PC とネット環境は最高水準クラスが揃ってるからね。まあ学生にしては上等の基地じゃないかな。あ、だから僕はこの部屋のことをベースって呼んでる。
The base.
Huh. それにしても汚い部屋だな。
This guy always feels like someone's watching him. Probably make a pretty good streamer. Oh well. Too bad this game came out in 2008. Bit of a stacked high with H games. Ay, ay, ay.
片付けろよな。誰だよ散らかしっぱなしにしたのは。って僕か。
Yeah, I don't like that laugh, eh? I was right about it. I was right about it all along. This guy is a character, I'll say. That I'll say. Definitely a character. Don't know if I trust him though. Face back towards my PC. Far corner of my room. Do I have any other commands? Okay, so I can open the tips log. Okay, let's have a look. So chuni. A word used to describe the slightly strange behavior seen in adolescent Japanese boys. Also used to describe people who are no longer adolescents but who still behave like adolescents. A chuni might make antisocial and nihilistic statements or engage in activities that seem to blur the line between fantasy and reality. They may act in grown-up ways despite being a child. Or they might, or. The chuni themselves, I bet he owns a white van, where he lives in a storage container. I think that's worse than owning a white van. Yeah, come over to my place. You take them into a storage container, lock the door. No! No! It's not okay. You walk into that storage container and you see hentai games on the bed and a fucking giant shelf of anime figurines. Red flag, to say the least. The world itself comes from the Japanese, second year middle school, the age when this behavior is thought to be most prevalent. Okay, what about DQN? Pronounced Okyan, a thug or bully or someone who's part of the dregs of society. Okay, I know what an MMORPG is. The main character, catchphrase is dork, very typical childhood friend, tsundere style character, has a mysterious familiar named something. 17 years old, second year student at okay. Is this that crazy lady? Maybe. This is the pause menu. Backlog, quick save, quick load, save, config, help. Okay. Take a quick save. Now, you're not gonna tell me that I immediately get another tip, right? Okay, good. Well posed. It is her! I think he's not okay in the head. Hold on, I'm just gonna share stream to someone quickly. Because they said I must tell them if I'm ever streaming. So I will. Bottle of soda. Okay, it was lukewarm, but that didn't bother me. It would bother me if it's lukewarm. Tell you that much. I sank down into the chair and put my hands on the keyboard. Just the act of sitting at the computer was enough to calm me. Nightheart was a paladin already on his second reincarnation. Okay, hold on. A Holy Knight, one of the classes that a player can choose. The class has high defense, resistance to dark elemental attacks, can use healing magic despite being melee class. However, changing to this class requires meeting a specific set of difficult conditions. It's widely regarded as the strongest class in the game of the current patch. So he's a meta slave. Unlucky. He was also the highest ranked player on any active server. Why is he talking about himself in the third person? Because this character is separate to him, of course. That's how he separates himself from this character. Almost every player knew the name Lightning Fast Nightheart. They all treated me like a god. Rare weapons, rare armor, rare magic. I had it all. 95% of all the rare items in the game, not as many as I wanted, honestly. And I had more money points than I could ever use in a lifetime. RMT or real money trading was how I made money for to use in the real game. I had enough to survive for 6 months without having to get up. Oh, that makes more sense. The act of trading in-game items or currency for real money, such in an MMORPG, only players in-game system exists. RMT can rife with fraud and other issues, and the practice has a mixed reputation. So that's how he affords everything. His gaming addiction is paying off. He's a master of the chat tool. Yeah, I doubt that, considering how much he talks. Alright, and more than 100 friends on Free Para. That's a social network. Okay. Respect, trust. It was already here. I didn't go to school. It wasn't that I didn't want to go, just there was no point. Did all my studying on the internet, and obviously you can do that at home. Of course, you needed to attend a certain number of classes to graduate, so I just went. I went just enough to get the bare minimum passing grade. Dude, this guy just sounds like he lives in 2025. I'm not gonna lie. This guy sounds like he experienced COVID and was like, yeah, I study better at home. I don't actually ever want to go back to school. Let me just play video games for the rest of my life. It was made in 2008. The foreshadowing. This is the smartest way for a student to live. It really is. Ain't gonna lie. Jeez. A schedule on when you'd go to school. According to the sheet, all I had to do was go to school 2.5 times a week. People who went every day called me a creepy otaku, but if you ask me, I'd tell you that they were morons for going, just because someone told them they should. Anyway, my life here is not that bad. Yo! Oh crap, I got so distracted by that gaze, I forgot I was talking to. Grim. Who's Grim? Grim was the screen name of a guy I always partied up with at ESA. Okay, thank you for telling me immediately. We talked all the time online. He brought me a lot of valuable information. It was like my own personal informant, you could say. I sat down and began to type at the keyboard. Lol. Can I type? Oh, he typed for me. Sorry, I didn't fall asleep, but I kind of spaced out, lol. Must be really tired, you're not sleeping enough. No, all day, all night. I'm not into 3D girls. Okay, this guy is a creep. Can we admit? Can we agree? He creepy as hell. Grum and I would talk about all kinds of things. Since I couldn't see his face, it was easy to tell him anything. Of course, in the real world, that's not how it would go. But does he know that this Grim... Okay, I don't know. So you're a 2D man then? H games. Really in a... Huh? Perverted delusions, right? Well, you used to talk about them, you really were into them. Something about doing naughty things with a girl in a school swimsuit. Dude. Ew. I don't like the main character. Let's discuss something near to my heart. What's happening? School swimsuit but glass. Dude, what is this option? School swimsuit plus glasses, yes or no? What is this? What is it even asking me? I'm gonna say no. What? I can't see! Competition swimsuits are better than school swimsuits. Yes or no? Competition swimsuits. What are we talking about? Is this guy ill? There's gotta be some sort of delusion. Competition swimsuits are better than school swimsuits? I don't even know what swimsuits we're talking about. And why? I'm gonna say yes just because they... I don't know. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to see someone. Hold on. Yes or no? Yes or no? No, yes. Yes or no? Competition swimsuits. Aren't they the same thing? Or is that just because we live in South Africa? Like a school swimsuit is like the one that I would think is the one that you would use in a competition. The ones where they put all the limits on you and be like, oh, you can't wear this, and oh, you can't wear that. And that sounds like it's true for both. I don't get the difference. Okay, I'm gonna say yes. Oh, it affects the dialogue. Okay. The swim cap is a must. No. What man doesn't? Me! Give a fuck about swimsuits. It's not about just showing skin. You're really gonna give me a tag for no panties? Really? It's common for heavy internet users to fall asleep right in front of their keyboard and stop responding to messages. Common. I don't think that's common. Okay, so Grim is... You gonna tell me what Moe is? First person pronouns. More than any other language, the pronoun you depend age, personality, or relationship to the speaker. Did you know this? It's good to know. Okay, I know what that word means. Complete and utter perv, that's Nightheart. We fear him, but we love him. Lol. Calm down. I mean, maybe I did get a little excited. I try to be the cool silent type. You should just be silent all the time. You don't have to be cool, but you should not have license to speak ever. Talking about the murders in the 3D world. What is he talking about? This guy's FBI agent is sleeping? Nah, this guy's in a container. He's hidden from that. He's hidden from the FBI. You know, I used an FBI line on Death by AI last night and it worked. Tells you. They're always watching. I said, but Shogun didn't reply. Was this asshole ignoring me? He's trying to be friendlier. Didn't he know who I was? This guy! I feel bad for him. No lurkers. That's me. I'm a lurker. In-game and out of game. Wait. But still online. I don't lurk in real life. What did I just do? Oh, I clicked the button. The murders. I don't care about anything 3D. It's probably something stupid anyway. Yeah, I guess. But pretty shocking still. Some kind of grisly serial killers or something. A lot of bad stuff has been happening lately. Clearly. Guro. You're not going to tell me what Guro is though. Isn't it gore? It's going to be... There's a lot of fakes and altered images going around lately, and trolls love to see set all kinds of traps. You ended up seeing a lot of the stuff whether you wanted to or not. Yeah, I'm nervous to click, but I'll click.
まあ少しは目が慣れてきちゃってるのかも。
And to think you're the strongest paladin and base lord. I don't PK though. Attack is yeah, I know what PKing is. Thank you. Chew. Someone who talks like a child. Comes from the word chugako, middle school. I'm no chew. I don't do things that would make other people upset. I never violate those rules. That's my policy. Did a shit ton of RMT. Now what is RMT? He's speaking in terms. Internet phrase meaning cool it. New generation, you know about it, right? Real money trading. Oh, right, of course. I have the memory of a fish. New generation, what the hell? Wasn't something I already knew about, right? Chrome seemed to act like I was supposed to know about it. What's New Gen? The New Generation Madness. They call it New Gen Online for short. It's the weird serial murders going on in Shibuya right now. It's all happening right near your house, lol. Oh, right. It's coming back to me. But I only knew the basic outline. Never really looked into that little thing. Yo, Pog, message was deleted by a moderator immediately. I didn't even get to read it. That's crazy. My mods are on it. Op it.
Let
me see.
この1ヶ月の間に渋谷で発生した2つの事件のことをニュージェネと呼ぶ。その犠牲者は胎児を含めて7人。
You, man! An unborn baby! So we can't legalize abortion, but we can kill unborn babies in video games. But we're not getting political. Onwards?
1つ目の事件は友人同士5人による高層ビルからの集団ダイブ。
First was a group of 5 friends who jumped off a skyscraper together.
2つ目の事件では男性の体内から胎児が出てきた。
What? You're just gonna say that statement and then make me move on instantly. The second was an unborn baby found in a man's stomach. Nah, but that can't be real, right? Can't be real. Also, if you are watching on Twitch, I think there's less of a delay on YouTube if you want to watch there. Just letting you know. Just letting you know. Just shameless plugging my own channel.
これマジかよ。
Okay, wait, seriously? Yeah, exactly. That's my logic. Hello. Oh. Hello. A lot of older articles about New Gen, so I quickly skim them. Supposedly the whole internet was talking about it, calling it the New Generation Madness. So wait. 2008. I'm talking about the New Generation Madness. I'm trying to place all this foreshadowing and seeing how much this creator got right about the world, you know, because it's an old game now. So it was written in 2008, and the New Generation started when? Like, when did Gen Alpha start? 2000 and something. I feel like it's 2009. Maybe it's 2010. Generation start date. No, generation. What do you? Generation Alpha started in grade in 2010. So is this their way of telling us something about Gen Alpha? The first one was the group of skydivers. There were rumors that there might have been a murder too. The parents and friends of the deceased all said they weren't the type to commit suicide. I can't say that word, I don't think, but it's fine. There was no sign of motive, and from a lot of pieces of circumstantial evidence, it was supposedly impossible to believe that they were about to do that. Took a quick look. Well, starting to shake and shiver. A phrase used by 2000s era Japanese otaku when feeling particularly terrified. Who made that tip? Because I don't think shake and shiver is a 2000s era Japanese otaku phrase. I think it's just 2 words that mean that you are shaking and shivering. We're reading too much into it. Not really, don't care. Now the question is, does that URL actually exist in real life? The strongest, I knew everything. I was stronger than everybody. I was a knight fighting for justice. Nobody's gonna make fun of me. I worked up the courage and clicked on the URL. This is gonna be bad. Oh. the hell was this picture? I like that picture. No, you got me. Ha 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 ha. Who drew this? Ayo! Wait, what are they gonna say about that emote? An emoji that depicts a person waving their hand. It can be used to say bye, but also raise their hand in agreement. Most people pronounce it noshi after the reading of the Japanese letters used. Whipped it up in 2 minutes just now. Generation Picasso. And yeah, this was fun, but I'm gonna go sleep. Night. See you tomorrow in Baselord. 2 members. Oh right, that Shogun was still here. I'd totally forgotten about him. Not that it mattered. I wasn't feeling that tired, so I decided to do some grinding in ESO. Oh wait, today's the day the Blood Tune aired. Didn't have a TV in my room. All I needed was a PC.
あと15分ぐらいか。その前にトイレでも行っておこうかな。
I looked at the figure of Seritan next to my monitor and grinned. I was going to get to see her today. I couldn't wait. Just I went to close the chat window though.
あれ
Another image.
なんだよこいつ急に。
Thought it was a lurker. Someone I didn't know. Someone who's never even talked to me was suddenly sending me a link. I gulped without even realizing I'd done so. Didn't know why, but I felt a terrible premonition when I'd never felt any interaction online before. Of course, didn't want to click on. Don't click links from random people. This is how you lose your information. This is how you lose your identity. This is how you get scammed. I have that's what my anxiety would tell me. Just don't click the link. Just don't click the what? New tip for the tips. Japanese name of the Chinese. Okay. What the heck? The world changes if you click it. I tried to act like he wasn't scaring me. Honestly, I didn't even want to talk to this guy. He was making me nervous. Feel myself sweating. Was the Shogun guy even Japanese? If he wasn't, there'd be no way I could talk to him. Sorry for scaring you. Huh? He was talking normally. Felt a little relieved. Okay. So type something back. Nah, it's cool, man. Why were you lurking? Did somebody tell you to lurk for 6 months before you could type? I was thinking. For some reason, there was a strange pause. Eh. The articles I just read about came racing back into my mind. Okay. Just envisioning them in my mind was bad enough. If I'd seen them in reality, I don't think I could have handled it. A man's stomach ripped open, the body of an unborn baby stuffed inside. And when those 5 friends jumped off a building, they were probably just chunks of meat after they landed. Probably true. Just imagining it made me want to vomit. Yeah, probably real. I quickly shook my head to get the images out of my mind. This Shogun guy was just so shady, it was making me delusional. I didn't need to be. I wish he would just go away. Tell him to go away then. The fuck is that? What is that? Not weird stuff's happening lately, huh? It's not over. What? Shibuya. Fun. Text 10x int. 40 equals LR2. He's gonna search it.
あれヒットしないな。
No hints. This formula has murdered the possibilities of the world. I have no idea what that means. Yeah, real. Anyway, what is that link? Am I actually supposed to click on it, lol? I thought you might be interested, and he sends it. How many images is he gonna... Oh, yo! 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 Yo, calm down! Yo, it's not that serious! He's just... That's a lot of pictures. Oh, shame. I feel bad for this guy. He really is. He really does struggle from paranoia. Like real paranoia. Feeling like it. Feeling like you were constantly being watched kept you from ever truly relaxing. Someone's gonna show up there, and I'm gonna shit a brick. They say that sometimes after you watch a horror movie or TV show, you hear a friend tell you a scary story, even a place you know well, like your own house, will start to seem strange and terrifying, and you'll be too scared to even go to the bathroom alone at night. Alright. That sounds like story time. Josh, you remember this story. I know you there. No one else is there. Sad. But we'll get there. Do you remember when we got told a scary story in camp in like grade like 5 or 6 or something? I think it was 5 or 6. And then we were all paranoid about some, and then they like, it was while we were on camp during school. And then we were all paranoid, and someone saw a snake, inverted commas, and everyone's skricking in their moor. I don't remember what the story was. I just remember the story of the snake, supposed snake. There was no snake. It was a sock. Everyone was skricking their moor off. Everyone. Not a single person went to check. Even the people that were there, the counselors didn't want to check. And then they walk up and it's a sock. Nah, man. That's what this guy's going to go through. Except for some reason, I feel like it's going to go a lot worse for him. It's not just going to be a sock. I'm not letting you trick me. You're clicking on the link. It's gonna be some gore. Yeah. There we go. Found myself staring at what seemed to be some kind of strange work of art. Something that looked like a porcupine or pincushion nailed to a wall in the shape of a cross, and beneath the porcupine or pincushion or whatever the hell it was, there was a pool of something red and black. There was also 3 little pieces of something that kind of looked like garbage. Alright, what the hell was that? Was this the world of some self-proclaimed avant-garde artist? You know, one of those guys who'd make something disgusting and then say with a completely straight face, I wanted to give expression to the chaos of this world. I'm not interested in that modern art crap. It was strange though, it wasn't really a Guro image. It looked Guro-ish, but that was as far as it went. So why did it feel so real? Why did it feel like it was right there watching it? I was watching it happen. Could a hallucination make you smell blood so intensely you wanted to throw up? Could a hallucination smell so strong you wanted to vomit? Started to feel pain in my temples. The urge to vomit wouldn't go away. Tried to grab the mouse, but my hands were shaking too badly. My hand slipped off the desk and I ended up grabbing the thing's cord instead. Moved out the cord, put it back on top of the mouse pad, and then closed the image. I'm glad I didn't have to look at it. It's a breather sigh of relief. I saw. Whose eyes are those? Ayo! That's the name of the essay. Yeah, he's messed now. It's Jove. It's Jova. I glared at the minimum school schedule I created. I'd never gotten to see Bloodtune in real time last night, of course. I saw it when it was upped to YouTube, so it didn't matter. Pretty sure it's just uploaded. But I still didn't feel any better. The last thing Shogun had said before he left, it was like he knew how scared I was of God's gaze. It couldn't possibly be a coincidence. Try to think of how he might know. Had my personal info leaked? Or was this somebody from ESO who was out to get me? A godlike player like me had lots of friends, but also lots of enemies. Well, most of those enemies were just haters, though. You know, guys who were just jealous of Neidhart's strength and charisma. It was best to just ignore them, I'd always found. No, that wasn't what was important now. Even after I logged into ESO, I couldn't stop wondering who he was, to the point where I couldn't even concentrate on my grinding. To make matters worse, today was
最悪の日だ。
the worst day possible. Why? It was unfortunately a day where I had to go to school. I didn't want to, but if I didn't follow my schedule, it might come back to bite me later. I might even end up being held back.
眠いのに。
Did my best to stifle a yawn as I staggered down the road to school. At my walking speed, it would take about 10 minutes to get there. Once I started moving, I only felt worse. Okay. Felt exhausted, it was really hard to breathe, and there was an awful sweat dripping from every pore in my body. This always happened whenever I went to school. Why did I have to go to school at all? When all it meant was suffering. I mumbled to myself as I stayed at the white lines of the asphalt, but I kept going. See, this is why, as a teacher, we say you need to make school enjoyable. If school is not enjoyable, no one will want to go. And if no one wants to go, they won't learn anything. And if you don't learn anything, your job is useless. GG, you lost. Unlucky. Bad RNG. My route took me through Shoto Park. Once I was through the park, the school was right there. As I walked by a lake, I could see an older couple out for a morning walk, and a salaryman sitting on a bench reading the sports section. For a park on the outskirts of a major downtown area like Shibuya, it was quiet. It was the perfect place to relax. I sat down on one of the benches. Every day I went to school, I would always sit here in the morning and eat my breakfast, surrounded by leaves that were gradually beginning to change color, and watch the placid surface of the lake. Breakfast was a pastry I bought at the local convenience store. This would keep me going until evening. I never ate lunch. Nobody wanted to eat with a creepy otaku like me, and I certainly didn't want to eat alone where everyone else was in a group. I washed down the cream-filled pastry with a can of soda and stared up at the sky. So this guy will eat breakfast because it's the most important meal of the day, but he won't eat lunch. Me personally, if I'm skipping a meal, it's breakfast. Lunch and supper, though, we try and eat those. The sky above Shibuya was always kind of cloudy and never totally clear. This was true no matter what season it was. My family's home was just a few stops away from Shibuya by train, but something made it feel like a whole different world. Oddly enough, the grey sky didn't bother me. I didn't know why, but it didn't. I looked at my watch to check the time. I needed to get going or I'd be late. Being late was the one thing I absolutely couldn't do. If I wanted to go to school 2.5 times a week, then I needed to make sure I didn't stand out at all costs. I needed to be like the air we breathe, completely invisible. I needed to avoid the DQNs, the delinquents and thugs I hated more than anything, and the teachers, and spend my day undisturbed in peace and quiet. This was my goal for my school life. I've never played this. I can guarantee you that. But I might have watched it. This all sounds too familiar. Maybe I'm just projecting. Okay, Sume Academy. That was the name of the school I attended. It wasn't a very old school. Been built within the last 10 years. Okay, and no longer is it relatable. My school is brutal. This meant the building was clean and new, and it was often used as a set for TV shows with a school theme. The uniforms had been designed by some fashion designer, and a lot of the dumber girls had chosen the school specifically to wear them. Dude, what? The uniforms had been designed by a fashion designer for a school. You just made the okay, whatever. It was in theory a college prep school, but the school's test scores were slightly above average at best. The school rules were really strict, but they were constantly telling prospective students about how much they respected student autonomy and independence. It was pretty funny how they tried to trick you. Well, I guess the rules were really there in name only. Nobody enforced them. So maybe they weren't trying to trick you after all. After all, even somebody like me, who only went to school 2.5 times a week, could still graduate. By the time I arrived at the school gate, there were enough students around me that it was starting to get noisy. Don't like crowds, so I kept my head down as I walked through the gate. Okay, we're in the classroom. In my mind, I was repeating, please, nobody talk to me, over and over. I had a sister a year younger than me who was also a student here. She would commute from home. Any day I ran into her was a disaster. Doesn't like his sister. Fortunately, I didn't see her today and made safely to my classroom, where he's probably gonna go hunch himself in a corner and not let anybody. Yeah. I slunk into my seat without letting my eyes meet anybody else's. For a moment, though, I thought that some of the girls who were chatting near me looked my way, but it was just for an instant. They quickly returned to their conversation without saying a word. I knew they were all thinking that I was a weird, creepy loser. But if you ask me, you 3D girls are way creepier than I am. Okay, so he is creepy, but at the same time, shame. If you find me creepy, just don't look at me. Just pretend I'm not here. Just do that and I'll live my life without bothering any of you. If you DQNs decide to keep calling me creepy all the time, instead, that's your problem, not mine. That's what I always say. I just can't understand it. Ah, Moose is here. Professor Moose. This guy is insane. I can... He's not right. But it's okay. Maybe you want attention from the people you call creepy. No. I don't think so. Stayed in my seat staring down silently at the surface of my desk, trying not to move at all. Hey!
Yo, Taku.
Who's this? Who's talking to me? Someone slapped me light on the back. I jerked and looked up annoyed. What's this?
今日って学校来る日だっけ？みすみくん。
Misumi. Daisuke Misumi. He was standing there with a friendly smile on his face. He was handsome and supposedly girls really liked him. His theme song. Okay. Self-proclaimed playboy who, according to him, was always dating several girls at once. From my perspective, he was a man who'd completely given himself over to the DQN side. If you don't know what a DQN is, this is a DQN. A thug, bully, or someone who's part of the dregs of society. So he talks to this man who's treating him very friendly, but he thinks he's part of the dregs of society. He wasn't somebody I wanted anything to do with, but main character is a DQN. Real! But he thinks everyone else is a DQN. But I know that he's delusional because there's a button in the control scheme that is delusion trigger. I have no idea what is going on here. Okay, he always looks so gloomy, up all night playing games, didn't get enough sleep. Sounds about right. He was the one person in class who always tried to talk to me. He and I had nothing in common, either in terms of personality or hobbies, but for some reason he was always trying to talk. In this way, ever since we became classmates at the start of the year, never managed to figure it out. If I was a girl, I could understand it, but why would you want to talk to a guy? 2008, 2025, you know exactly why.
引きこもりだからしゃあねえかもしんねえけどよ。もっとこう、ハキハキ答えろって。
Okay, but explain what a hikimori is, please. Please? Nothing? Nothing. Okay. I got so nervous my voice wouldn't even come out right. And since I wasn't used to talking, I would always stammer. Get scared of saying something stupid, being made fun of that. I hated talking to anybody. Okay, cool. You don't understand my pain. Don't tell me what to do. Oh, and I'm not a hikikomori either. Hikikomori is somebody who never leaves it. Josh, I'm getting ahead of myself. I forget that the game actually does explain these things. Yeah. He doesn't leave his house 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. He leaves 2.5 times a week. And that's a reference to the joke I made earlier. Try to put some distance between this and doing so. I almost fell out of my chair, so I quickly grabbed onto my desk.
みすみくんはホモなの？
なわけねえだろ。お前
だよね。はあ、ビビった。
Scared me for a second.
ちなみに
Before suddenly lowering his voice, he gave me a mischievous grin. Okay, but I hope the main character never laughs ever again. I'm just gonna put that out there. I don't want him to laugh ever
この
again.
クラスの女子で3人目を落とした。
This
誰
guy,
か聞きたいか？
this guy's also,
いいよ。
yeah,
別に。
だよ、もっと興味示せよ。田中だぜ。
this guy's a puss. This guy's a puss, the other guy's crazy.
田中って誰？
お前、もうすぐ10月だってのに、未だに同じクラスのやつの顔を覚えてねえのか。ま、3次元に興味ないんじゃ、それも当然か。
Okay, the one thing I could say for him was this. He never insulted my hobby, that is, my love of 2D characters. He never called me creepy, it wasn't his thing, but he never said anything about it. Eh? In that respect, maybe he wasn't such a bad guy after all. What is a 3D woman? It doesn't surprise me, you don't know what a 3D woman is. Sorry, catching strays. He's just, this guy separates, he likes hentai woman, 2D woman. He just refers to every real life person as a 3D person. He doesn't like 3D people. So he's talking about just normal women or girls is a 3D woman. Busy insulting Moose first stream back. Yeah. Based! Don't say based.
これでうちのクラスの可愛い女はほぼ
Alex gave almost all the
攻略完了
cute
だ。
girls in this class.
そろそろ隣のクラス
Thinking of moving on to the girls in the next class over.
んだよ。
Okay, but this guy. Maybe he was a bad guy after all. At least that's what the girls would think if they heard him. Real! Real!
D 組によ。めったに学校来ねえけど、すごくいい女。なんか
Almost never comes to school.
そういうの。燃えねえか。
He thinks it's hot for someone to not. Josh, are you still there? Tell me this guy isn't giving bi vibes right now. Tell me right now. He's literally looking. Only person that talks to this creepy man and says that it's hot that the person only comes to school. Yeah, I'd smash. Okay.
あ、お前の場合は燃えるんじゃなくて燃えだけ。
Off the earring alone. One? You think he has one? Do you think he has two? Okay, I don't remember the whole thing about the earrings. He's in school. Exactly! You see the problem. Don't use that word if you don't even know what it means.
お前の興味ねえ話はそろそろやめるか。
Well, at least he respects that.
ニュージェネの話
Oh
知ってる
no.
だろ。
And now he's gonna have like an anxiety attack. I thought he was only interested in chasing skirts. Yeah, real. I couldn't imagine him looking at a newspaper or reading the news.
集団ダイブの事件さ。あれも。マジだって書いてあったんだよ、スポ島に。
It's in sports Tokyo. Who could believe a thing written in that paper? I wonder what a source is. Anyway, I already knew that. And also, I didn't care.
で、聞いて驚け。その殺人鬼が女で。しかも
女。
A girl. As I looked at the excitement on Mitsumi's face, I finally understood it. So that's what compelled him to actually pick up a newspaper. It was a girl. It only made sense. Thought to myself. So, okay. It's alright. He was okay with dating a murderer as long as they were cute. I could see myself going for that if it was a 2D girl. Murderer, thoughts and feelings? Hot murderer? Thoughts and feelings? Thoughts and feelings? Thoughts and feelings? All I'm gonna say is, I watched Future Diary. I have a favorite character, and I'm not proud of it. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, Mitsumi was looking out the window and off into the distant sky. Yeah, let's pretend I didn't make that statement. He looked like he was on the cusp of achieving some great enlightenment.
どんなやつなんだろうな。
Moose has no idea what I'm talking about, but it's
本当
fine.
に美人なのかな。
He doesn't need to know.
会ってみて
This was a man who made all his decisions with his little head. I was sure of this now.
俺だけは殺されねえ自信があんだよな。だってほら、俺ってかっこいいだろ。いくら連続殺人鬼でも俺みたいないい男に会ったら
I can change her
コロッ
sort
と
of
折れちゃう
image.
ぜ。
I can fix her. She's a serial killer, but I can fix her. Don't worry. I can fix her. Man, talk about an optimist. Found myself scared by how confident he looked. So is everyone just delusional?
僕は興味ないから。
でもよ、興味ないっつったって犯人は絶対この辺うろうろしてんだぞ。
Maybe
どっかで
Mitsumi
す
was
れ
the
違って
killer.
たりするかもしんねえし。
Nah, I doubt. No, this is probably impossible, but I couldn't rule out the possibility that the killer was someone from this school. If that turned out to be the case, maybe I'd come up with something about how I'd gotten PTSD and be able to graduate without having to go to school. What do they describe PTSD as?
なあ、今日俺と一緒に殺人現場見に行かね。ここから歩いて行けんだってよ。
This guy is sadistic.
ま
Is
だ血とか残ってるらし
everyone
いぞ。
like not okay in the head? If I was a murder scene, I would stay the fuck away from it, not go towards it. I didn't feel interested in the slightest. Tell him that then. My goal for today was to get through my classes without any trouble, go home to Seiritan, and then go back inside the world where I was God. Okay, Moose, context. This guy is like the best at a certain video game, where he is treated as God inside the video game because he's so good. Seiritan is the character from an anime that he has a figurine of that sits on his desk. I'll let
も
that
う
sink in.
小橋と長谷川は見に行ったって言ってたしよ。
Kobashi and Hasegawa said they went out
本
already
当に
too.
興味ないんだ。
I mean it, I don't care. Okay. Fair. Fair doings. Whoa. What is happening? Okay. I hate to disappoint Mitsumi when he was so excited, but I had no intention of going. Okay, what? I don't know what's happening. I opened my mouth to squeak out some excuse, but he wasn't
そし
listening.
たら犯人とばったり会っちゃったりしてな。犯人は犯行現場に戻って
Say the criminal returns
ってよく
to
言う
the
だ
scene
ろ。
of the crime and stuff. Yeah, that's why you stay the fuck away from the crime scene.
で、次はタクがターゲットにされるんだ。死をもって罪を償う。みたいな。罪状はそうだな。
What is happening here? Oh shit, I did not mean to click that. Stop, stop, stop. What am I doing? Okay. I clicked the delusion trigger, and I don't actually know what's happening with it. So I can make it green, or I can make it red. Okay, we'll keep it as no delusion for now.
僕は引きこもりじゃ。
Tried to protest, but I worried that he might hate me or try to bully me, and I just gulped down my words. I'm gonna try that shit out next time. I bit my lip and looked away from him. I found myself looking around the room and saw something written on the blackboard. At first, I didn't really care what it was. All I noticed was that there was some writing there. But the more I looked, the more something seemed wrong. Eh? Finally, I leaned out of my chair.
ちょっとどいて。
Okay, move out the way.
おい、どうしたんだよ。
Whose eyes are those? I walked up to the blackboard and I saw the words written there. I felt my heart was strangling itself in my chest. Whose eyes are those? The words I always silently said to myself whenever I felt the gaze of God. I never told them to anyone else. There was no one to tell them to. Not even Mitsumi, nobody in this class could possibly know that I said that phrase all the time. Why, who, for what reason? I spun around and looked around the classroom. Oh shit, what just happened? I think I clicked skip. Only Mitsumi was paying. Okay, wait. Everyone else was talking to themselves or reading manga they weren't supposed to have at the school or sleeping at their desks. Who wrote this? When did they do it? Was that already on the blackboard when I'd come in? I couldn't remember. Usually I didn't pay any attention to what was on the blackboard.
どうしたんだ。
Okay, so that's the skip button. Don't press the skip button. Mitsumi walked up to me and grabbed me by the shoulders to shake me.
聞いてる？
Are you listening?
おーい、タク。
Can I go into delusion mode now? It didn't matter who'd written it. written them, it was just a coincidence. People used these words all the time. It was just some stupid scribbling. Yeah, just some stupid scribbling. Don't seem like stupid scribbling. I tried to tell myself that, but it's still really scared. I was still really scared. I never did figure out who'd written them. I wanted to go around the class and ask, but I didn't have the courage. Before long homeroom began, the teacher came in and asked who wrote this on the blackboard. He sounded annoyed and erased them. And so, problem solved. It's done. It was really creepy, but I decided I was going to force myself to behave normally. If I let myself seem scared, I'd just be admitting the message that had something to do with me. And it didn't. Okay? Just a coincidence. Kept telling myself that over and over until it was time for me to go to a net cafe after school, just like I'd planned to do. Why would you go to a net cafe if you have perfectly good internet connection at home? It's the only place I like going. It was along Center Street in Shibuya. There was a lot of loser salarymen and DQN 3D girls here. But you get your own personal room, so it didn't matter. The room I was in, room 37, was the kind of my personal spot. It was the only it was the one furthest in the back of the cafe. It sucked when you wanted to get some of the free soda, but it was relatively quiet. Because not many people came by. I'd always come here once or twice a week on my way home from school, so that I could log into ESO under a different ID. Okay, so the game has like an IP address tracking? That's whack, though. I guess that would combat that. That would eliminate smurfing in a heartbeat. You can only have one account per IP address. Imagine. I enjoyed being famous, but not having to be the hero everywhere. Everyone looked up to all the time was stressful. That's why I like to play with a different avatar sometimes. This character was a girl. Her name was Lizzle. Okay. Didn't really have many big accomplishments to her name though. Whenever I played as her, I made sure other characters got the glory. I worked out some stress by playing for 3 hours. Just grinding, never really doing any hard content. Then I talked about dumb stuff and some naughty stuff with the rest of my guild. Okay, so he's in a guild on this character. But does he PK on that character? By the time I left the cafe, it was almost 9 PM. Center Street at this hour was filled with DQNs. They would sit on the sidewalk like they owned the place, eating fast food, laughing in their disgusting voices. It made me want to vomit. So, he just hates people. These guys are just out for the evening and he thinks they're delinquents. He's a delinquent. If you made eye contact with them, they'd get mad and attack you. They were barbarians. Okay, maybe they are delinquents. They were animals. They didn't have a shred of common social decency or intelligence. I wish they would all just die. I meant it to. It wasn't something I was just saying. But you know, just dealing with them was a waste of time. And I wasn't the kind of guy to waste time, so I quickly left Center Street. After leaving at cafe, I would always stop at either the nearby manga or the animeite. That was a little bit further away. Today I decided to go to the animeite and headed for the station's south entrance. There were far few DQNs here. Really, Center Street was pure chaos. Just walking through there made it hard to breathe. If I could have, I would have rather gone. I wish they'd just tear the whole place down, leaving only at cafe and manga drake. Anyway, it was time to look at some manga and dojins. Oh, and Bloodtune's 5th DVD was probably about to go up for pre-order. At some point, I found myself on a narrow street in Maruyam. Okay. There was the route I used on my way back to the base from Animeite. Yeah, I couldn't read the word recipe as a kid. There's no way I can read a word in Japanese. I forced myself to blink several times. Then I took a look inside my bag. There was a few textbooks along with a portable game system. Yeah. I know Josh knows what I used to pronounce recipe as, and he's probably laughing about it, but we're not going to talk about it. I hadn't bought anything at Anime Eye today. Usually I always made sure to buy at least one thing. I started to walk from here. It was less than 15 minutes. Shut the fuck up. You're a bitch. You're a bitch. You're a bitch. That still doesn't help them. It's fine. From here, it was less than 15 minutes to the base. Didn't get that far from the station for all the lights and neon to disappear, along with most of the people. At most, you saw middle-aged couples heading for the hotels or salarymen heading to their homes nearby. It was quiet and calm. It was hard to believe that this was the same Shibuya as Center Street with its hordes of DQNs. How I wish we could just walk around at night, you know? Be nice, eh? Be lekker. It was cloudy tonight and the moon was hidden. The streets seemed even darker than usual.
まただ。
Matada. I knew the route well with its filthy dark street. But today it felt strange. Like I'd wandered into another world. Everything looked the same as always, but it felt like I was coming here for the first time. There's gonna be some gore. There was this odd smell like rotting garbage. Yeah. I could feel the humidity clinging to my skin. If I hadn't known better, I'd assumed it had just rained. The air felt sticky.
いや、ちょっと待った。
What did I mean again? Felt like a... Yeah, I know what deja vu is, but why does he call it that? The opposite of deja vus, which is when you see a scene they've seen many times before, but feels as though they've experienced it for the first time. Okay. I didn't know that. Damn it, I was getting reality and my delusions mixed up. That was what the psychologists on TV said would happen if you played too many video games. Either way, it felt like I was coming here for the first time, and that wasn't all. It felt prickling on the back of my neck, a feeling like somebody was looking down at me. I wasn't imagining it. No matter how fast I tried to walk, the gaze kept following me. Somebody was watching me right now. Their gaze was so powerful, I could physically feel it. I wanted to look back, but I decided not to. This was a game I sometimes played with myself. Whenever I heard a small sound or felt sound like somebody was watching me, I'd play the I'm not turning around that easy game. If I turned around, I lost. Usually whenever I felt the gaze, I had delusions about ghosts or monsters with incredibly scary faces. Yet throughout all 17 years of my life, I'd never turned around and actually seen something there. I kind of started to enjoy this game since I knew I was probably safe. I'd listen for a moment, then raise an eyebrow in suspicion, then I'd say a line from a manga. It wasn't that I was too scared to turn around, okay? Hey.
貴様見ているな。その目誰の目？なんちゃって。
I tried to desperately remind myself that I wasn't scared, but the next thing I knew, I'd stopped walking. I could feel the tension in the air change slightly, my face was damp with sweat, and my knees were threatening to buckle. I gave in and turned around. I lost the game, but of course, there was nobody there, not even a passing car. Why did everything feel so strange all of a sudden? The ringing in my ears had stopped. I only noticed after the sound had stopped. Until that moment, there'd been a sound like a ringing in my ears. I did notice it was very annoying, but I hadn't been aware of it at all. Now I couldn't hear anything. It was suddenly dead silent, far too silent for the middle of a city. It felt like any sound would be crystal clear. I closed my eyes tight to listen. That was a mistake. Oh, there is no sound. Okay. I couldn't hear anything. Weird. Was weird, right? Yeah. Usually you couldn't hear the sound. You could hear the sound of distant train, cars, faint noises like that. So why? My ears broken? I wanted to scream as loud as I could. I felt like if I didn't, I'd go crazy. But I couldn't. It was so quiet, it felt like if I broke the silence, something terrible would happen. Suddenly a single sound shattering through the silent world. I looked ahead and saw many shiny things lying on the dark ground that were scattered all over the asphalt. Grasses. It was metal, and and its long tip was sharp like a needle. A stake, a nail. It was strangely shaped, so I'd mistaken it for a cross, gripped the stake dazed. I could hear it, a faint sound, some kind of echoing. A cold sound, one that would make your blood turn to ice. It would start, then stop, then start again. My legs kept moving forward. I walked on as if drawn to the source of the sound. Was it just a desire to see something scary? Maybe I wanted somebody to save me, to rescue me by plucking me out of this world of silence. It was like something from an old German fairy tale. Which one was it again? Oh right, the Pied Piper of Hamelin, where the piper leads over 100 children on a march with the sound of his flute. The sound kept going. It was an awful sound, like something hitting something else. As I walked, it kept getting closer. Coming from the back of the narrow alley on the left. Once I rounded the corner, I'd see what it was. For some reason, I didn't think to turn around. The idea of turning around never occurred to me. It was like it wasn't in the control of my own body. I walked around the corner and saw murder. In the darkness, brilliant red. Aish. That doesn't look comfortable. The first thing I thought was that I'd seen something like it before. Also, that it didn't look real at all. Maybe a few screws broke loose in my mind and my senses had just become numb. That's messed up? Yeah. In normal conditions, I would have screamed, fallen back on my butt, and peed myself right there and then. And there was something that looked like a porcupine or maybe a pincushion. Yeah, that's the picture you saw earlier. Countless stakes were nailed into the wall. As I stared, I realized the red blood was pouring out from beneath the stakes. The brilliant red I'd seen was a pool of blood. Faint light from the street lamps outside the alley just barely reached in, making the red glisten. There were all these little glistening piles of something that kind of looked like hunks of meat. I tried to swallow, but my throat was parched dry. There wasn't a single drop of saliva in my mouth. I'd realized the thing nailed to the wall by those stakes was a manskap. Yeah, was a human. This was so far removed from my everyday life, so brutal, so overwhelming. And the one that had done it, the one who pounded all those stakes into the raw concrete, was a single young girl. How could I tell? Because she was standing right there in front of the corpse, holding stakes in her blood-stained hand. Her back was turned, so I couldn't tell what the look on her face was. But the uniform she was wearing, it was Sume's. The awful smell like raw, rotting garbage clung to my nostrils even more firmly. Every few seconds, I felt like I was about to throw up. Put my hand over my mouth so that I wouldn't vomit, and then I finally realized where the sense of deja vu had been coming from. Pink hair, telling you. I know. It's the pink hair. It's always the pink hair. I didn't realize I'd spoken aloud until it was too late. This would prove to be a fatal mistake. I saw the girl's shoulders twitch as she heard my voice. Then she slowly turned around. Hell. She looked at me with startled wide eyes. Her expression shifted to something that combined with a smile with tears, and then
よかった
hey, she's glad, apparently. Glad about what? True. Why would anybody be glad about anything right now? Didn't make any sense. It was so bizarre. I felt a cold chill run down my spine and quickly looked away. It suddenly occurred to me that I didn't want to get involved in anything weird. It occurred to you now! I couldn't talk to real girls anyway. Also, she was a murderer. The cops were on their way. I was hungry too. Yeah, there's time to go home. Time to leave. Otherwise, I'd go crazy. Oh, she knows his name. Suddenly, she said my name. I hadn't introduced myself. I'd never seen her before.
あなたに会いたかった
I don't like it. Her lips curled upwards with a terrible grin, like a demon's. As I ran, I screamed, and as I screamed, I ran. I kept yelling until my throat hurt, running as fast as I could. Just once I looked back, but she wasn't following me. And we're back on the TV screen. Okay. I was looking in front of my computer monitor. My whole body was soaked with sweat, and my clothes were too. What did I just see? Was that a delusion of mine? Still felt like I was going to throw up, so I went to the fridge, got a soda, and gulped it down. Real. Where's my monster? It was a really good. It was a really realistic delusion, if I did say so myself, but way too gory. I was even still out of breath. If it was just a delusion, how could I be out of breath? That was impossible. I felt something strange in my right hand. I was holding it so tightly that my fingers have turned white. Until that moment, I hadn't even realized it. My heart pounding as I slowly relaxed my grip and opened my palm. It was a single steak. Scared I flung it at the wall. That's gonna help for sure. You have evidence, brother. It was the steak from the delusion. I remember picking up one of the ones lying on the ground. So it's not a delusion then, is it? But why? Wasn't that a delusion? I don't understand. It's impossible. Whoa! I don't like that. I don't like what he just did. I don't like that. I don't like what that did. I needed to figure out if what I'd seen was just a delusion or reality. But before I could, I slipped on one of the CD cases on the floor and lost my balance. I reached out trying to grab something so I wouldn't fall. The only thing in reach was the shelf where all my wives resided. By the time I realized what was happening, it was too late. I couldn't hold my weight and I ended up falling back onto the floor as figure after figure poured down on me. Damn it, this was just awful. Everything was just awful. I moaned, then started to see if my figures were okay. Okay, but fair enough. Valid crash out. Broken clean in two. I bought that thing in an online auction and had to pay a whole bunch for it. Yep. Still a valid crash out. I tried to put the sword back together, but even gluing it together wouldn't really fix it. It was worthless now. I kicked my own chair in anger, then I started to cry. What's happened to me? What did I do? I don't know, you witnessed the murder and ran away? I sat down and glumly stared at my now swordless Ignis. When the anger and confusion passed, I turned my mind towards the girl's face and the strange sight I'd seen. The fact that I was holding the stake meant that the murder was real, not a delusion. I didn't want to admit it, but I had no choice. By tomorrow, the media would be in an uproar. I wanted nothing to do with it, nothing at all. If I had got involved with her, no. It wasn't a her. It was some kind of monster. I'd be done for. I was already pretty close to screwed anyway. I'd taken a murder weapon home with me. The police might even think I was the killer. And that demon saw my face. There was no escaping this now. Next she'd come after me. I needed to think for my own sake. I needed to think so I could get out of this alive. Whose eyes are those? And they have a Shogun. There's a strange formula Shogun wrote. Oh, Jesus. Shogun equals mystery girl equals killer. There was no other explanation for how it happened, just like in the photos. First, the girl put together fake photos on the computer, simulating exactly how the murder would happen. This was her way of making the murder. No, I bet she'd want me to call it a work of art instead of a murder. Psychopaths like her always thought that way. That was her way of making sure it was perfect. This guy loves calling people crazy. What was I supposed to do? She'd be coming for me before long. She knew my name, my email, so she probably knew my address too. Pulled my legs up onto the chair, crossed my hands over my knees, then buried my head between them. The murder I'd seen yesterday was sheer madness. Just the thought of it happening to me. Let that speak for itself. Sherry was laying in front of my PC monitor smiling at me. This guy is cooked!
タッキー、あなたはこの部屋に引きこもってればいいんだよ。そのうちに警察が、それまでは誰も信じちゃダメ。誰の言葉にも耳を、悪魔ってさ、人の心の隙間をついてくるのが好きなんだよね。油断できるっしょ、タッキー。
でも セーラ。
逃げるが勝ちってよく言うし、三次元のことなんてきれいさっぱり忘れちゃえばいいさ。あなたには一切関係ないことだって思えば気が楽。関係ないこと考えたって無駄無駄さ。いいこと教えてあげる。引きこもりって最強なんよ。だって誰にも会わないっしょ。つまりだからタッキーは引きこもりになるべきなんさ。簡単っしょ。
そうかもしれない。
This man is being convinced by a delusion of an anime girl from an anime that he watches and has a figure on his desk to not go outside ever again.
ありがとうセーラ。おかげで勇気が出てきた。そうだよ、三次元なんてクソくらいだ。あの悪魔だって僕みたいなキモオタのことなんて気にも留めてないさ。僕安全だ。安心して毎日演奏したり好きなアニメを見てれば何の問題もないんだ。
でもさっき言ったみたく油断は禁物だ。
うん、分かってるよ。
Beware of anything 3D. That was all I had
セ
to
ー
do.
ラにそこまで心配してもらえて僕は幸せだな。
Oh, he's gonna laugh.
さてと、それじゃ気分直しに演スロット。
And back to the grind. Well, I mean, it's like the only time I'll allow his delusion to be right is because he makes money off the video game. So does he actually need to go out if he's making enough money off a video game to afford a decent place to live in the middle of Japan? A clear voice echoed across Miyashita Park in the depths of the night. A really good voice though, I won't lie. Who's this? As the cars came and went below, the girl they called FES leaned against the bridge's safety rail, seemingly oblivious to the noise below. She had no audience. If she'd done a real street performance, she probably would have had at least 100 people stopping to listen. Real. But for now, Fez had chosen instead to hide herself behind the veil of the night. All she had to do was stand here in the silence. Then she could be one with the darkness, and for a moment at least, freed from the filthy air of Shibuya. That's how it seemed for her anyway. Suddenly she looked up at the night sky. The clouds that had covered it were slowly parting and a faint ray of moonlight trickled through. But the bright dazzling lights of Shibuya were hiding the hesitant twinkling of the stars. Close the mouth. She's also saying it. They're all delusional. But if they're all delusional, then are none of them delusional? That's the question. I spent the entirety of the next 24 hours in base load. I didn't even quit to eat. Dedicated myself fully to erasing Takumi Nishiji and beating Night Art. In Iso as a god, I didn't need to be scared of any demons. Everybody respected me. I always thought how nice it would be if I could spend forever in this wonderful world.
おお、エンジェルハイロ来たこれ超レアすげえ。
Got a rare item.
これは早速使わないと。
Get to use this.
装
Let me
備
open my equip. Okay, wait. What is this? Okay.
装備。
So he's he went from having the worst day ever to saying that he's having the best day ever.
おお、キャラの見た目変わった。すげえ、これすげえ。見て見て、見ろってグリム。
Now he's gonna go, huh? It's gonna make him look like his character.
ナイト。
There's knocking! I thought I was just playing it. I didn't think I was playing a horror game. I didn't. But why is there knocking? I know there's a psychological game, but like, the knocking. I don't like it.
ハルト自重しろ。うっせえ、死ねよ負け組。ちょっと町に戻って見せびらかしてこようかな。
Cut it the hell out. Finally gotten one of the ultra rare drops I wanted, and I was incredibly excited. All the desperation. Can you shut up?
お兄ってば。おーい、開けろ。
I can hear you knocking on my door. Shut up.
やった。ナイトハルトがも。
こら。
Okay, you finally heard the fucking knocking on the door. Good lord. It's definitely his sister. She was an assassin sent by my parents, my little sister.
開けないとひどいんだからね。
Damn it. A storm was about to roll in. Didn't want to open the door at all. But if I kept it shut, my parents would be the next ones to come. They'd tell me to stop living by myself and come home. My dad was pretty much the owner of this building. If he wanted to kick me out, he could. This just wasn't fair. Shut up. I wonder what that means. Okay. Don't yell so loud. She was still banging on the outside of the door. The walls of the shipping container are a single piece of metal, so any sound echoes really loudly. She knew that and was doing it anyway. I unlocked the padlock on the inside and opened the doors outward. I had no other choice.
あ、やっと出てきた。生存確認。
This character looks familiar, Josh. It looks familiar. It's giving me flashbacks. It's giving me this. It's giving me this right there. That's what it's giving me. That's all I'm gonna say. This tiny shrimp of a girl was my little sister. She was 1 year younger than me.
呼んでるんだから返事くらいしてよね。お兄死んじゃったかもって思ったじゃん。
Every time I saw her, she was complaining about something. As you could tell from the way she was standing, with her hands on her hips and pouting, she was a little brat. She's not standing like that. And if you ask me, she was nothing more than a huge nuisance. She's literally smiling and waving at you. You're being a knight.
うわ、相変わらず部屋の中汚。
Okay, she told me to clean his room. It's cock annoying. Never mind, I don't like her. I walked right into my room without even bothering to ask if it was okay. She thought she could do whatever she wanted just because she was my little sister. To those of you out there who have little sisters, who think little sisters are moe, I have a message for you. Face reality. Well, I guess she was kind of cute. If you were a lolly fan, she might totally be your type. This guy is scum. He's talking about his sister. I didn't feel that way about her at all. If anything, she seemed like a little baby to me. Yeah, but you still don't make statements like that. Oh, but I don't mind lolly characters, just they have to be 2D. He's gross. I don't like him. Why am I playing as this character? But I will continue. It smells so moldy in here, your room's just filthy. I keep telling you to clean it, why don't you?
まあ、どうせ掃除してくれる彼女なんかいないだろうし。お兄ってズボラだから、こうなったらやっぱりナナが掃除しに来てあげるしかないかな。
だが断る。
なんでよ。
お前に
きっとそれがわざわざ生存確認しに来てあげてる妹に言うセリフ？
Well, you're not showing your older brother any respect, are you? Nobody asked you to see if I was alive anyway.
まったくなんでこんな面倒ばっかりかけさせる兄弟と。はあ、なんか喉乾いちゃった。飲み物もらうね。
Nanami walked to the back of the room and opened the fridge again without even bothering to ask. Okay. Green or red? Green or red? Green or red? Green or red?
コーラしかないじゃん。
I want to try this out. Green or red? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Green or red? Green? Or red? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm more scared of green. Because that heartbeat's a lot slower than when I do it on the green. I don't know. Alright, I'll go green.
知らんがな。
しょうがないな。じゃあコーラもらうね。
Huh? Just taking a soda. I chose green. What happened? I could see a pale white throat moving up and down. I heard the sound of her gulping down the
せ
liquid.
めてコップ使えよ。
Don't gulp something down, you're a girl. It's indecent. This is why 3D girls are shit. Jesus. She put down the soda and looked at me a little annoyed. Was her face a little red or was I imagining it?
だってナナはお兄と関節キス。
That's gross. I want to read this. I want to read it out loud. I'm never going green. If green is this, we are going red. Or nothing.
軽蔑した。だとしたらナナ
Let me out of this hell.
言っとくけどお兄相手じゃなきゃこんなことお兄のバカ。
Ah! I don't like it. I don't like it. Let me get through this. I can't.
嫌だな。
I don't want to. I need to get
お
through this.
兄とお兄が
Gross, gross, gross. Please, I'm skipping. I'm skipping. I'm skipping. I'm skipping. I've never skipped. I'm skipping. Yeah, gross. Please don't ever do that again.
どうしたの？
もう帰れよ。
Getting hella sus? Yeah, we ain't going down that green road again. Not. We'll pick a better character. Good lord, I did not know what that did, and now I do, and now I'm never using it again.
冷たい。
I might use it again, but I'm not using it on her. That is for certain. She can. Jesus, that was horrible. I don't even know what she said, and I don't want to go back and
せっ
look.
かく心配してお兄ってずっとここに引きこもって誰とも女の子と話す機会だってどうせ全くないんだよね。言ってみればお兄と話すだからさ、もっとナナのこと大事にしてよ。そしたら女の子との接し方も
As she
ちょっとは分か
spoke,
っ
she
てく
picked
る
up
は
one of
ず
my
だし。
figures. Stared at it. Don't touch one of my wives. If you get a fingerprint on her, I'm seriously gonna kick your butt.
あとお兄は自分のこんなお人形さん
Don't spend all
に
day
うつつを抜かしてる場合
talking
じ
to
ゃ
your
ないよ。
dolls. I don't want to be the one
ナ
who
ナは
finds your dead
お
body.
兄の死体の第一発見者に
My
なん
little
か
sister trying
な
to
りた
say.
くないからね。
Don't just sound like mom lately. It's meant. Anyway, she's annoying.
いいから帰
Just go
れ。
そんなに帰れ帰れ言わないでよ。まだこっちには用事が残ってるの。
If I made her mad, she would go berserk. I had to stay
携
calm.
帯買いに行こう。
Let's go buy a cell phone.
お父さんがそうしろって。
Dad says you
お
gotta.
兄が携帯持て
If you
ば
got a phone,
い
we
つ
can
でも
always
生
tell
存
whether you're
確認
alive
でき
or
る。
not.
お金はナナが預かってきた
They
から。
gave me the money for it, so
今
let's
から
just go
買い
right
に行こ
now.
うよ。
Everybody's got a phone these
今
days,
時
you know.
携帯持ってない
Going to be
人な
left
んてい
behind.
ないよ。時代に取り残されちゃうよ。
Okay, maybe most kids my age had a phone, but I didn't. There was no reason I would want one. I had nobody to call or text, and I didn't want to spend money on something I wasn't going to use.
だから行こう。
Put the figure back on the shelf and peered at me.
どうせお兄は機種とかわかんないだろうから、ナナと同じ機種にしちゃいなよ。
She took a phone out of her bag and waved it in my face.
ほら、これがナナのついでだから。ストラ
うわ、なんという手抜きキャラ。
How lazy was the person who came up with this character? Hanging from the strap was a small figurine of a character that was, well, whatever it was, it certainly wasn't cute. It looked like something created by a rookie designer with no talent at all. This guy is such a dick. It wasn't cute or even creepy cute, it was just
手
creepy.
抜きじゃないもん。ゲロカイルンはこういうデザインなの。
This is Gero
今すっ
Froggy.
ごく流行ってるんだから。はあ、女子高生の流行なんて鬼。そういうとこを直せば少しは女子と会話成立すると思うよ。きっと。
She's facing him. The poor girl didn't realize she was being manipulated by the media. Well,
って
unlucky.
いうか今はゲロカイルンの話じゃなくて、いいから携帯買いに行こうよ。
Go buy you a cell phone.
別にお揃いがいいとか言ってるわけじゃないからね。家族で同じ機種だと家族で持ってないのはお兄だ。
いらない。
なんで？
必要ない。
Just be a nuisance if I had a phone. Mom would probably call every day. If I didn't pick up, she'd send her pet assassin Nanami to check on me. In other words, it would be just be a nuisance, one that would make my life a lot harder. Didn't want that at all.
もう信じらんないよこの。
ああ、そうしてくれ。
Now get out of here. Opened the door for her to go, but she didn't move. She just glared at me, shoulders heaving with rage.
ほんとバカ。アホバカ鬼。
嫌だね。
Okay, he's just a puss. I'd never walked to the station all the time. She'd come before. Why would I start
だ
now?
って最近殺人事件とかで物騒じゃんか。
For a moment, what happened yesterday felt like it was going to come flooding back to me. I shook my head desperately, trying to drive the thought out of my mind.
どうでもいいし。
However, the new gen killer was, they weren't going to be interested in a little girl like Nanami. That is a mistake
ありえない。
you don't take. That is not a risk you take. Oh, there's a serial killer in my area. Let my sister walk there. I'm sure she'll be fine. No!
ナナが死んでもいいって言うんだ。
Yeah, real. She was crying. I must have really made her sad. It felt great. That's what you get for disrupting my peaceful life. This would be my little way of getting revenge. That's what you get.
バカ死んじゃえ。鬼なんか猟奇的に殺
Real,
されちゃ
actually. I do kind of hope that the serial killer kills this man early and that she knocked me aside and ran out the door. Actual real. I'm so mad. I really should have used the other delusion, I think. Because then at least maybe he would have stressed a bit more. It was nice. The base was my home. Nothing was allowed to happen here unless I wanted it to. I sat down at the computer and moved the mouse a little to wake it up from my Seiritan screensaver. Then I took a big swig from the soda bottle on the table, but it was empty.
しまった。これ、ナナミがさっき飲んだやつだ。
If Nanami was a little sweeter, it might have been great. Just like, no man, shut up! I threw it on the big garbage bag in the room in my corner. Throw yourself in the garbage bag. Huh? It missed and bounced off the wall, rolling under the bed, but whatever. True. Now then, time to get back to Iso. Time to forget all the annoying stuff that happened in the real world. She's gonna die. But sadly, I was forced to bring my time in Baseland to an end after just a single day. When I left the base early in the morning, my mental state was back in the dumps, and any improvement that I'd felt from the time in the game was gone. Why did I have to go to
な
school?
んで今日なんだよ。最低最
But I
悪
couldn't stay
だ。
home. If I stayed home, then it would ruin my whole attendance schedule. Then I wouldn't be able to graduate.
卒業って。
Why the hell do I need to
何を
graduate
卒業
anyway?
するって言うんだよ。
It's my idea, but still, couldn't help but complain. When I got to the luxury residence at Shoto, I suddenly realized I'd been feeling like someone was looking at me the whole time. But it wasn't God's gaze, this was just a weird feeling on my neck. Oh! As I turned the corner, I took a quick glimpse without turning around and caught a glimpse of a girl in a Shumei uniform. Was it the demon from 2 days ago? Suddenly my heart started to pound. I was so nervous that I started to walk funny. It started to feel like I no longer belonged in the quiet morning around me. I could hear the sound of birds chirping on the power lines and the faint sound of the morning news from the televisions inside the houses around me. This didn't feel like a place where any kind of murder could happen, and yet it felt like I was about to have delusions of myself being brutally killed. No, I needed to calm down. I hadn't gotten a clear look at their face, had I? Had I? Oh, it's a question mark. If they were a Shumei student, it would only natural they'd be following me. They were headed to school, just like I was. Okay, I had an idea. Instead of following the path that led straight towards the school, I made a right instead. I fought down the urge to turn around and tried to act as naturally as possible. I kept walking, trying to contain my nervousness, and after a minute I quietly turned around. Who is following me? Our eyes almost met and I quickly turned my face around again. Why was she following me? This wasn't the way to school. Was she actually tailing me? It was a face I didn't recognize. The one I could tell for sure, though, that it wasn't the demon from the other day. This girl had glasses. Just knowing that alone made me feel much more relieved. I decided I should just head straight to school. I'd have to cancel my usual morning breakfast, but I didn't have a choice. Yeah, girl A. To me, you're just pedestrian number 1 or girl A. No more important than that, so go away. Girl A stopped trailing me and disappeared when I got to the school entrance. She seemed to have somewhere else to go since she headed for the 3rd year classrooms. Maybe I was just imagining her tailing me, but it didn't make sense that she'd follow me down a route that led away from the school. She was just trying to upset me. Had I done something to make her mad? No, I hadn't. There was no way I could. At this school, I was invisible as the air. Save quick. Okay. What was she after? That's the question. I somehow made it through an awful day at school, and as always stopped at the cafe on my way home. Of course, I sat in room 37. Usually the rooms around me were empty, but surprisingly enough, there was somebody in room 36 today. Really? The door to the room was closed, but I could see the desk light was turned on inside. I sighed a little as I went into my own room. Having someone next door made it hard to chat. I was the kind of person who always said things out loud when he chatted. Well, whatever. Time to just log into ISO. I'd have to be careful not to say anything. I slammed my bum on the keyboard, annoyed. Yeah, now you sound like me. Minor inconvenience? Desk must break! Anyway. I've been playing for about 2 hours now. Today was just a stressful day. The pair I'd grouped with were clearly new players. As always, I stayed in the background trying to let them have the glory from themselves, but one would always run in ahead of us and die, and then do it again. The other mage refused to use any magic to help us. Our party must have died a dozen times. Then on top of that, all they did was complain in chat. Freaking idiots. I got so mad, I PK'd them, took all their items and quickly escaped to another area. Nightheart couldn't do that stuff, but Lizelet could. That's why I came all the way to at cafe to log in. I knew he was PKing on this account. Bitch. I felt a little better, so I decided to take a break and go get something to drink. Had free drinks and a well-stocked soda fountain near the counter. The one problem with room 37 was that it was pretty far from the bar. When I left the room, I saw that the door to room 36 was open. I had to go buy it if I was going to get the soda fountain. I took a quick peek inside as I walked by and nobody was there. Actually, I realized I'd heard the sound of somebody getting up a moment ago. But there was a bag sitting next to the chair in the room. It was a student's bag. Decorative straps hung from it, stuffed with animals dangling at their ends. They were Gero Froggy, the thing Nanami had shown me yesterday. 3 of them, too. Maybe it was really popular. Not that I cared. If I kept staring at it, they would... What? If I kept staring at it and they came back, they might think I was a stalker or a thief. I decided to forget about it and go get my soda. But when I saw what was showing on their monitor, my eyes went wide. The monitor was displaying the words New Gen Aggregator Site. It was a really nasty looking, attention grabbing font too. New Gen. I've been deliberately avoiding looking up anything about it. I didn't want to know the details. That's how I was telling myself that I had nothing to do with it. Anyway, there was a reason the person who just happened to be in the room next to me at a Nef Cafe looking at a New Gen aggregator site. For a moment I saw the demon girl's face again and my whole body shivered. I shook my head to drive away the negative thoughts. I was overthinking it, yeah. I was just being paranoid. New Gen was the media's favorite subject right now. And not a day went by when the TV shows weren't discussing it. Everybody was interested in it. This man is still just staring at this bag. That was the only reason, yeah, it had to be. Time to forget about it and get my soda. I put my cup under the dispenser and pushed the button for soda. Ice cold soda came down right into the cup. The sun was setting and it was starting to get crowded. I could see a small line of people waiting at the register. As it got later, more and more people were going to come. In an hour or so, all the rooms around 37 would be full. That would probably be my cue to go home. I took my cup and went down back to my seat. As I walked back, I took a quick glance down the corridor that led to the restrooms. This bitch?
Oh.
I saw a girl with glasses and a sume uniform disappearing down the end of the hall. It was girl A, the one who had been following me this morning.
Eh?
I thought I must have been mistaken, so I hid behind a bookshelf and watched the corridor for a while, but never saw her again. I must have been imagining it, right? Yeah, I'd only seen her for a second. And there were probably a ton of sume girls who used this cafe. A lot of whom wore glasses. But what if it was girl A? What was she doing here? Was it just a coincidence, or had she followed me? I started to feel scared. I left the cafe and hurried back to the base. I'd gotten too scared to stay. I wanted to go home as fast as possible, but the streets were crowded with people and I couldn't move as fast as I wanted. Starting to feel sick. I hated the crowds. It felt like everyone was laughing at me. The crossway turned red, so I had to stop. I took a quick look around. There's no sign of girl A. As I headed up Dongenzaka Hill, walking got a lot easier. Usually I chose to take the back streets where there weren't as many people. Fuck's sakes, don't do that. But after what happened 2 days ago, I decided to take the main streets instead. I came to another red light and looked around. Wasn't a sign of girl A. Maybe the person I'd seen at cafe was someone else after all. I relaxed a little, relieved, and turned around. Classic, classic, classic. Okay, red, green, or nothing. Green was hella sus last time, but that was my sister. And I will never fucking click it on that character again. However, I could probably get her killed right now if I click red. I'd have to guess. Okay, let's see what red is. I took a step back in shock. They on the other side was standing with the pedestrians waiting to go green again. Fuck off! I need to see what red does. Then we'll go to green. And her eyes behind her glasses were locked dead onto me. Her eyes were intense, as if she was trying to send some kind of message. I said I don't want to go green. I just want to see what red does. Okay, so the delusion's activating. She can get hit by a car or something. Truckun's gonna come in. Maybe it was just a reflection from a passing car, but a flash of light illuminated in the lens of her glasses. I heard it, her lips twisted as if she was mocking me. There was so much distance between us, there were so many people around us, but still I could hear her tiny laugh. As she laughed, she suddenly lifted up her skirt. Dozens of small, shiny objects fell out from inside it. They looked like crosses. I remembered the crucifixion I'd seen the other day. The look on her face was sheer insanity. Her eyes were bloodshot, her cheeks frozen, and a smile was on her lips. Then for some reason she started to walk across the street even though the light was still red. I shriveled up in fear and tried to run, but my legs were rooted to the ground. I couldn't even speak. She was getting closer and closer, crossing the street, the cross-shaped stakes in her hand. Stay away. Yeah, she's gonna get hit. I screamed in my mind and then, boom. Trucken. My goat. She was hit by a truck that was driving down the road and thrown down the street. The people around me started to scream. There were too many people between us for me to see what had happened to her. But I was so sure. I was sure that she was dead. She was dead for sure. She was lying on the ground, broken bones, shattered, covered in blood. I'm saved, I told myself, even though I knew it was a terrible thing to think. And she's fine. I came back to my senses. My body was soaked with an awful sweat. The people around me weren't screaming anymore, they were simply waiting for the light to change. There was no sign of any truck, and the girl on the other side of the street was still there staring. Was what I'd seen just a delusion? I'd hope so. The light changed, the crowd began to move. I couldn't move, girl A didn't move. She didn't smile or flip up her skirt, she just stared at me. It was as if time stopped for the two of us and no one else. Why wasn't she moving? Why was she just standing there? Didn't make sense, it was weird. I shouldn't get involved. I needed to run. I needed to run while I could. Run. And so he ran. I forced my timid brain into action and I ran as fast as I could. I ran in the opposite direction from her and down a side street I saw. Back in the side streets. You don't learn. I collided with something and fell on the ground, hard hitting on my shoulder. I grasped in agony as pain raced through my whole body. I couldn't tell what had happened. It was all I could do was sit up. When I looked, I saw a large scooter in the middle of the street that I'd knocked over. I must have collided with it. I gritted my teeth and tried to force myself to stand up, but I couldn't feel any strength in my legs. I didn't think anything was broken, but...
大丈夫ですか?
Now who's this? And it's girl A. She must have caught up to me at some point. She was looking down on me, worried. What the hell was going on? Who was this woman? My body wouldn't move. I was too scared. I didn't know what to do. It was too late now, but I regretted not taking the train to Shinsen. Maybe I should have made green if this was going to happen. Her voice was timid and hesitant. She was trying to act worried to get me to let my guard down. You're not going to fool me. I won't let any 3D girls fool me. This guy. I yelled at her. I still couldn't stand up, so I crawled away from her. If I didn't put some distance between us, I was afraid she might pull a knife on me. Okay, so that's probably because I did the red delusion, right? Where the red delusion seems like your anxiety and the green delusion seems like your fucking sexual fantasies. And no delusion is I just don't click the button. That terrible sight came back to me again and again, and I kept feeling like it was going to happen to me too. Me too, King. Me too. Check something. Brr. Yeah, bo. Still working. Okay. She seemed hurt. You just started running, so I got worried and followed you. I saw you lying on the ground. And, I don't have anything to talk to you about right now, so I'm
でも今は用事とかあるわけじゃないんですが、
You don't have anything to talk to me about. What does that mean?
じゃあなんで付きまとってくるんだ?
Valid question.
それは
She was stammering. It was really suspicious.
楠木優愛って言います。
I hadn't asked, but she introduced herself anyway.
実はあなたのことそれでつい
So you started stalking me. The girl you was staring at the ground as she talked.
ごめんなさい。
She bowed. Impossible. That was my honest reaction. Now that I got a clear look at her, this yoga was pretty cute. I'll admit that. But that doesn't mean I could believe it. A 3D girl interested in me? What kind of H-game scenario was this? Real? That never happened in my entire life. It sounded to me like an obvious lie. Did she think this would make me happy, especially when she'd been acting like a stalker a moment ago? Maybe if she was 2D, it might still work, but a 3D girl like that was just a weirdo scary. I felt really embarrassed just being here too. I wanted to get out of here as soon as possible. 3D girls were just the worst. Even talking to one made you nervous. Okay,
僕は
Eh?
いや
Yo, this guy can't speak for his life. I tried to say something harsh, but hesitated. But I knew if I didn't say it, she'd keep stalking me. I didn't want that.
迷惑だよ.
So harsh. So rude. Did she really feel bad about it, maybe? No, I couldn't let her fool me. I couldn't believe in any 3D person. I only believed in 2D, nothing else. I could trust Seiritan a lot more than I could trust her. Yeah, I think I gotta start
No.
going green with all the
来ない
humans
でね
so that this guy can become
帰るから
not a fucking shut-in. That'd be great. Just leave me alone, I'm going home. I force myself to stand up as I stammered out the words. This man needs to touch grass. This man touches concrete and himself. I think nothing else. I forced myself to stand up as I stammered out the words. My whole body still hurt, especially my shoulder. Then I could barely move it, and every so often I'd feel a dull ache from it. The pain was making me a little dizzy. It might have hit my head when I landed. I staggered for a moment. Yua quickly grabbed my
怪
hand.
我してるんですね手貸します
It was all I could do not look at her. I knew my face was bright red. If she saw it, she'd definitely make fun of me. I knocked her hand away violently so that I could turn away from her. My mind was going blank. I almost never had a chance to touch a girl who wasn't a family member. I could feel my heartbeat quickening.
お家
Yeah,
ま
he
で
needs
送ります
he needs more than grass. He needs more than
あ
grass.
なたが怪我したのは
I'll tell you that.
私がつきまとっちゃったせいですから
Let me walk you home. You got hurt because I was following you. So let me walk you home.
送らせてください
I appreciate her offer. I wasn't used to having anybody nice to me, and it felt like I might actually fall in love with this 3D girl I'd hated just a moment ago. What? Okay, I'll leave it. But that didn't mean I had the courage to look straight at her. And anyways, she was a stalker. She might have something to do with the demon girl too, and I didn't want to die. So many different thoughts were racing through my head that I didn't know what I felt anymore.
あのお家どこ
シンセ
She
深
said.
セン
I nodded and then realized what I'd done. Why the hell did I tell her that? Was I expecting to happen? This was just a delusion anyway. No, it's not. Even if it wasn't, it would only be happy for a while before it all got ruined at the last second. That's how it always worked out in an anime, right? I could feel the death flags popping up by the second. Foreshadowing that someone's going to die. Yeah, it's not going to be you though. Crap. Now she was up against me, trying to help me walk. I could feel her soft body against mine. Her hair smelled good. Listen, if I clicked green, I'm worried about what would have happened. Genuinely. Like, genuinely. I'm glad I made him piss scared of her, because this is how he thinks of her when he's piss scared of her. Impossible, no 3D girl would ever be this
歩
nice
け
to
ま
me.
す
Can you walk?
じゃあ
Nodded.
行きましょう
She sounded nervous. She was watching my feet as we slowly walked. At this point, I didn't feel like I could refuse or shake her off. Helplessly, I let her tiny body support me as we went. Neither I nor Yua said a word until we got to the building where the base was at. There was no way I could have had a real conversation with a girl. Even if I talked about anime or games or figures, or 3D girl would never try to understand. She'd just tell me I was creepy. And from my perspective, there was no point in talking to a worthless girl like that.
ここ
Oh
で
yeah, by the way, Josh, are you going to
もう
Comic Con this
い
year?
いから
I meant to ask, because I'm going on Thursday. This is far enough. I whispered and then watched to see how she reacted. She nodded slightly and then let go of me. I still staggered a little.
やっぱりそのお
Unfortunately
部屋
not,
まで
Shannon.
ついていきましょうか
Bleakage. The anime man and Akidiris are going to be there, dude. I've been subbed to those channels for ages. Might try and go for a might go stand in the line for the meet and greet if it's not too long. I also need to make a costume this week, but I don't know if I have the energy. I want to do my work colleague suggested it because like I said, I wanted to do low effort, and they said I must go as the teacher from My Hero Academia. It's not a bad idea. I ignored her and headed for the building's lobby. I say lobby, but it was really just a narrow hallway leading to some elevators. There was a small staircase, and when I tried to go up it, I felt an incredible pain that almost knocked me over.
大丈夫ですか
No. She ran over and grabbed me. Damn it. Was she still
や
here?
っぱり部屋まで送ります
I need to take you to your room. I'm gonna do it no matter what you say. For some reason, she seemed really desperate. To be honest, she'd been a big help in getting me this far. My base was on the roof. To get there, you had to take the elevator to the 8th floor and then go up a steep staircase. I couldn't have done it on my own. You didn't look that strong, but she'd done everything she could to help me get up. She'd been supporting me for so long, she was out of breath. Okay, prediction time. She's gonna help him inside the house. She's gonna see the cross. She was Googling the murders. She's gonna link it together. She's gonna go mad.
こんなところに
She looked at the shipping container in shock. I guess to most people living in a shipping container was really weird. It's cool as hell. I stick with it.
なんかその
Real!
憧れます
Real! I'm
アウ
also
トロー
jealous.
な感じがしていいですよねこういうのって
I certainly wasn't expecting her to say that. Was she trying to suck up to me? You can't fool me. I'm not letting 3D girls fool me. With her help, I unlocked the padlock and went inside. She's gonna see the cross. Wow. Phew, I was finally home. What an awful day. I resolved again to never leave my room if I
真
could
っ
help
暗
it.
ですね
She'd come right inside my room without bothering to ask. Well, I guess it was because she'd been helping me walk this whole time. But still, I didn't really want her seeing the insides of my room. There was a whole shelf of figures and H game boxes on the bed and the garbage all over the floor.
もういいから。
I
話して。
waited for her to remove her hand, but she didn't.
床すごく散らかってじゃなくて歩きにくいと思うんですけど
The
絶対
floor's
危
a
ないです
disgusting mess, real. I mean, it's probably really hard to walk
ソ
on.
ファー
It's
まで行き
dangerous.
ましょう
Let's get you to the
そこで話しますから
sofa, then I'll let you go. In the end, I did as she told me. There were CDs and magazines all over the sofa, but she cleared a spot for me to sit down. She was really kind and considerate. Wait, I wasn't going to let her fool me. Not a
平
chance.
気ですか
Yes.
うん。
Was it just me and her inside the room? The door was still open, and a little bit of moonlight was coming in through it, but the room was mostly pitch black. It was too dark to read the expression on her face, but the fact that I couldn't see her made the sound of Yua's breathing seem almost seductive somehow. I realized that this was the first time I'd let a girl besides my sister into my room, and she was also someone I barely even knew. If this was a game, it would mean she was totally into me. Maybe there'd be a situation where things would keep going, and I'd end up kissing her. But this wasn't what I was expecting. Reality was always cruel. It wasn't like 2D, and this girl wasn't normal either. She was a stalker. How long was she going to keep standing there anyway? Now that she'd seen me home, shouldn't she be going? Okay. Then I realized, was she waiting to get me alone so she could do something horrible to me?
明かりのスイッチ
パソコンの。
パソコン
The only light in this room was the desk light next to the computer. I tried to tell her that, but I couldn't.
そうか
She carefully dodged around the garbage on the floor. She walked over to the computer desk and turned on the light. Okay, we're about to find out if she's a normal human or if she finds all this shit cool. This room is not great. Okay. The room was finally freed from the darkness. When it was dark, the fact that I couldn't see made me imagine all kinds of different delusions, but being able to see her wasn't much better. I felt twice as embarrassed as before. I felt dead silent and quickly turned my face down. Her sudden gasp startled me. I looked and saw what she was looking at, the figure of Seiritan next to the computer monitor.
これってブラチューのセイラちゃん
Ah, she's also an otaku. It's his dream girl.
知ってるの。
She's gonna die.
はいブラチューは大
She watches
セイラち
Bloodtune
ゃん
every
がお
week.
好きなんですね私もヒロインの中では彼女
There
が
was a
一番好
note
きなん
of
ですよ
happiness in her voice. She seemed like she was telling the truth. This was surprising. Was Yua a...
女子。
What did you just call her? Oh. Girls who enjoy games, anime, doujins, etc. about love between two or more men. So-called yaoi. Normal female anime fans are not called Fuji. So, he's insulting her.
あ、うん。
Okay, cool. She didn't hear him. She was just an anime fan, I
あれ
guess.
フィギュアって言うんですよ
Feeling
ね
ippy. No worries.
ちょっと見せてもらってもいいですか
It's what you call a figure. Aren't you figure these? Sorry.
すみませんずうずうしいこと言っちゃって
Started to bow apologetically.
見ていいよ。
Didn't mind when someone complimented my wife. I guess I could be a little nice to her.
本当ですか？ありがとうございます。
She's gonna break
それ
it.
は山陽堂版の覚醒前バージョンなんだ。セーラフィギュアはいくつか種類が出てるけど、最初に出たやつ。
へえ。
あんまりクオリティは高くないよ。顔とか微妙に崩れてるし、ポーズも平凡すぎてあんまりエロくないし。でも服の胸元部分をキャストオフできるのは今のところそれだけなんだ。
A popular feature found in female anime figures that started to appear around 2006, where parts such as clothes were made to be easily removable. This enabled purchasers to strip their figures naked, or in some cases, close to that. Ew. Okay.
胸元。
ちなみに僕はセーラフィギュアは4種類全部揃えてるよ。そっちの棚に制服バージョンとメイド。
そんなに種類が。
一番評価が高いのはメイドバージョンなんだけど、個人的には水着バージョンも。
そうなんですか。見てみたい。
もうすぐアルファから待望の覚醒後バージョンが出るんだけど、これはかなりクオリティ高そうな。キャストオフも胸元だけじゃなくてほぼ全身可能だっていうし、表情もポーズも質感も。あとは
Gross,
カラー
man.
さえバッチリなら
Stop talking
今
about
年
this.
発売されたフィギュアの中でも MVP 候補だよ。
アルファ？
メーカーだよ、フィギュアの。
ああ、なるほど。
It said all kinds of really embarrassing things about taking off clothes or sexy poses too. Yes, you did say weird things. Wanted to see what the expression on her face was, but I didn't have the courage. She was probably looking at me like I was a piece of human garbage. My heart was pounding as fast as I tried. When she said my name, I turned to face before I'd realized what I'd done. The look of disgust and contempt I expected, it wasn't there.
さっき言っていた戦闘バージョンとかメイドバージョンも見せてもら
She's
っていい
genuinely
ですか？
interested. No shot. She's an op.
そっち
You're
の
on
棚
that
に。
shelf. Shelf. She's smiling and looking like she was having a great time.
すごいですね。こんなにたくさん。
As she stared at the shelf of figures, her eyes were smiling brightly. I couldn't believe that a 3D girl could look at these and not be freaked out. Was the world a bigger place than I thought it was? Yes! Yes, it is! Dumbasses. I need to send a message. Just need to sort this out quickly. Okay. Unfortunately, I had to deal with something.
メイドセーラちゃんってこれですね。
It's a little different from the anime, but it's still really cute.
下
They
着
even
ま
put a
で
bunch
ちゃん
of
と
effort
作り
into the
込んでるん
underwear
だ。
too. I've never seen the real thing
こ
before,
ういう
but
の
this is great.
実物で見た
Maybe
の
I'll
は
buy one too.
だったら覚醒後バージョンを予約した方がいいよ。
そうですね。あなたの話を聞いていた覚醒後って
Post Awakening would be
あの
from
シーン
that
のこと
scene
で
in
すよ
episode
ね。
12,
よく
right?
知ってますな、お
You
主。
recognize it,
か
huh?
なりのマニアです
You're a
な。
big fan.
好きですから。特にあの時の覚醒シーンは毎日録
あのシーンって演出と作画宮地なんだ。だからクオリティ高くて当然。
宮地？
そういう神クリエイタ
It's
ー
the
がい
name
るん
of
だ
a。god level
あの人の演出は
creator.
マジで神だよ。
Directing is incredible
アットちゃん
whenever
の
he does
実況版
something.
でも神来たってなるし。
Watch out, freaks out.
そうなんですか。すごく知識が
You
豊
really
富な
know a
んで
lot
す
about
ね
it,。huh? Never put any thought into it. The Star
監督
Force.
と演出と脚本はチェックしとくといいよ。
Just look at who
特
does
に
the
新作
series
なんかは
directing.
それを調べるだけで内容の良し悪しが大体予測できるし。
For new stuff, that alone will tell you whether it's going to be good or not.
わかりました。
That's a bad
今度から
piece of
そうしてみ
advice.
ますね。
Like, it's a good piece of advice, but you gotta give everybody their own chance. She was still smiling at me with her perfect, a pretty smile. A girl smiling at me. I thought that would only happen in H games. But whenever 3D girls, especially my little sister, were smiling at me, it's because they were making fun of me. She was up to something, I knew it. Okay, I gotta get her to trust this girl. I don't care if she kills me at this point. I couldn't forget Seiritan's words. Don't believe anybody, don't listen to anything anyone says. Yeah, that was from a fucking figurine.
こんなこと聞いていいかどうか。
何？
And avoiding looking at me in the
聞か
eye.
せてもらっても。
Can I ask your name? She doesn't know his name. I realized that she'd introduced herself, but I hadn't.
西条匠。
Suddenly I felt embarrassed. The words came out quiet and
西条
soft.
匠くんですね。
What year are you? Second year.
私は3年。
I'm in third year. I guess
私
I'm
の方
older
が
than you.
年上さんですね。
Oh, here we go with the delusion again. Okay, I'll go this one this time. That Moe pose was enough to almost make me pass out. The Moe type, quiet. Alright, get delusional. Let's get delusional.
私ずっ
But
と
that's not what's actually
西
happening.
条くんもう
Her face is now bright red for some reason.
嫌なんです
Okay. Holy shit. This is not allowed for stream. Oh my god. Okay, 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 hold on. Not kosher. I will be cutting these out of the YouTube stream. Yep,
No.
yep. We will be cutting it out.
だが断る。
What?
すみませんシール本当にごめんなさい
Uh-oh. Don't do that.
いいよ。
じゃあ足の踏み場だけでもその
She's gonna clean
確
up.
保させてくださいすいません
Dude.
その後で
Preying on
お願い
people's downfall.
言いますから
I am preying on this guy's downfall. Completely and utterly. Let's both reach for the same piece of garbage our hands would touch. God, no, that's not gonna happen. Yeah, no way that was going to help. No.
いえ気にしないでください
She seemed really shaken. I realized that this so she was in a position to see everything in my room. She might want to steal something. That's not the problem. Your room has fucking... Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. But I would. I knew all my wives really were. If one disappeared, I noticed
フ
immediately.
ィギュアには触らないでね。
はいその
There was a blood-stained Dojin.
同人誌
Is
っ
that
て
what
い
they
うん
call
で
it?
すか
Was it lying on the ground
それが
and I
落ち
looked
てまして
inside?
ちょっと中身を見
Oh
て
fuck.
すごかったので
勝手に。
すいません
She quickly got back to work, and then when she'd secured enough room to sit, she turned towards me.
それで
Yeah, it was.
さっき言っ
I gulped as my body
た
tensed
さっ
up.
き言った
Would you go reserve that figure with me? She's asking him out.
私
Never been to an anime
アニメ
shop or
ショップ
anything
みたい
like
で
that. Wait, I know that's really forward of me.
私のせいで
It's my
西条
fault
く
you
ん
got
が
hurt
怪我をし
after
た
all.
のに
I mean, that is true. This was dangerous. I needed to be careful about how I responded. Sure, she and I had the same hobbies. She said she liked Seira too, but... Oh, not but. And she listened to the things I said like she actually cared. For an otaku like me, this was an easy person to talk to. Exactly! But this was a trap. It had to be... No man, shut the fuck up. I couldn't let a 3D world fool me. Think. What was she after?
すいません、今のお願いは忘れてください。私、西条くんがいろいろ話してくれるのが、
She bowed to me. Most 3D girls were really bossy and arrogant. This was a rare exception. Yeah, I guess so. I guess it is a rare exception. You're also a clown. Completely and utterly. But we won't talk about that. Just gotta send a message. There we go. Okay. No 3D girl could possibly be this cute and kind. Yeah, okay. I was going to say no, I was going to come out and say it clearly like a man. Say yes! She looked up at me and I could see that her eyes were damp. Was she crying because I didn't say anything? Had I made her cry? Please, anything but that. I only ever experienced anything like this in a video games. My heart was pounding really fast, I even felt guilty. I'd always heard people say that girls use tears as a weapon. But only now did I realize that it was true. To be honest, I didn't know what to do. I just stood there half stammering. I tried to say I'd go with her, but I couldn't. What if I said yes, and then the next thing she said was, don't take me seriously, idiot, you're creepy. I was so scared of the idea that I was stuck silent. Her eyes were even wetter now. It felt like tears could start pouring from her eyes at any second. Just say yes, mate! There we go. It was the only way I could think of to get her to stop crying. The whole thing felt like a setup, but she let out a sigh of relief and took off her glasses to wipe away her tears. She said thanks. I managed to keep her from crying at least. I got lucky, I guess. Phew! Why did this have to be so stressful? Couldn't let your guard down around 3D girls for a minute. What happened to that sad expression of hers? Now she looked really happy. Maybe she was making it up the whole time. If so, she had a future as an actress. Tomorrow, maybe? According to my schedule, tomorrow was a school day. This week I had to go to school 3 times. Of course, that meant next week I only had to go twice. Tomorrow is going to be an even worse day than I thought. But Yua looked really excited, and if I told her I changed my mind now, she might cry again. She had me in her clutches. I reluctantly agreed. Yua looked happy. But she couldn't fool me, okay? Class B. I nodded, hoping I could get her to leave. I was going somewhere with a girl. This wasn't a dream or delusion, was it? I tried pinching myself. It hurt. She's gonna die! I feel bad for this guy now. Like, if this chick dies, I feel bad. He's a weirdo and he's a creep, but he doesn't deserve that. She's gonna die. She's 100% gonna die. There's no way they introduce a character like that at the beginning of the game and then be like, she'll be part of the entire story. No. I need to make sure she somehow lives. But I think I fucked up already. I felt a grin coming on but forced myself to stop. No, she's not in love with you, you delusional ape. Well, it's up to me whether I actually date her or not, right? I'll just dump her brutally and without mercy? Picked up the figure and rubbed it against my cheeks. Dude, this guy is ill. He's ill. He's gross and ill. He's ill and gross. It's disgustingly gross. Okay. She's not gonna show up. What we learned today is going to be on the test. Make sure you take good notes. That's all for today. She's not gonna show up. Okay. The math teacher was... what was their name again? Ah, well, didn't matter. Left the room and the school day came to an end. The other students were all talking about where to go after school, or heading off to their clubs or teams. Most of them immediately got ready to go home. Normally, as soon as the chime rang, I would put my things together and go home. But today I stayed in my seat trying my best not to look at any of the other students. Today I was meeting Yua. Normally, a date with a girl would be a WKTK situation. Hopeful and excited. But for me, for today, it was just depressing. My nerves were all jittery, my stomach hurt. I'd never agreed to go anywhere with a girl and I didn't know what to do. Would she even come? Maybe the whole thing yesterday was a prank, and she was watching me from the shadows and laughing, I thought. In a way, that might be better than if she actually did come. Wait, did I even need to wait for her at all? Couldn't I just ditch her and go home? Yeah, that was the way. She was in a different grade than me anyway. If I ditched her here, we'd never meet again. I made my decision and stood up. Someone slapped me on the back hard. I didn't mean to turn around. I didn't need to turn around to see who it was. The only person in the class weird enough to talk to me was Mitsumi. Usually disappear the second the bells ring. Got a name for it. Takumi's Sonic Boom Dash. Are you waiting for someone? How did you know? I was right.
どうして
なんだかやけにそわそわしてたからな。教室の入り
He was perceptive, but I needed to be careful with what I said. Don't forget, Takumi, goal is to stand out at school as little as possible. You have to be like the air itself.
誰も待ってないよ。
そうかだったら今の間はなん
それは
Crap. Mitsuri wasn't a bad guy, but he could be really annoying at times like this. Read the room, jerk. Take the hint and don't be an ass. Okay.
西条くん
My whole body froze. She's alive! She's alive! Didn't think we'd get this far. Okay, we'll save. I turned towards the voice, feeling sheer terror. Yo standing timidly at the door. Oh no, thanks to Misumi, I had lost my chance to run away.
おいなんだりゃどういうことだ
Might have been the first time I've seen Mitsumi freak out like this. He wrapped an arm around my shoulder, pulled me in close and looked me in
おい
the
タ
eye.
クどういうことか説明しろよお前の彼女か
違うよ。
I told him 1,000 times that I didn't have any interest in 3D girls.
だったら何なんだよ言っとくがタクの姉ちゃんとかそういうオチは引きこもりのくせに何をどうやったらあんないい女と知り合えるんだ
昨日
She started following me
それ
yesterday.
つまりあれか逆難されたってことかえこの
He grabbed me by the jaw, shook for a second before finally letting me go.
そうか世の中には物好きってのもいるんだなけどタクがまともな性癖を持ってたみたいで少しは
それに彼女とは別に
そうかそうか頑張れよタク
He was all excited now and slapping my back harder than before. He was definitely
安
teasing
心
me.
しろってお前の
だからそういう関係じゃん。
ほらさっさと行けよ
Pushed me in her direction and began to slowly walk forward. I guess I
お前
didn't
みたいだぜ
get to run away after all.
迎えに来たの迷惑でし
いや、
Sure as all was. I looked back at Mitsumi and he was grinning and giving me the finger. I couldn't tell if he was cheering me on or trying to start a fight. There was no point in trying to deal with him anymore, so I decided to just leave the school.
すいません昨日会ったばかりなのにこんなお願いをしてしまって
いや、
I really was nervous. No shit, you're nervous. Who wouldn't be nervous? Me leaving school with a girl, like a popular kid. I thought this was a world I'd never have anything to do with. Sounds like me. No girlfriend though. Never thought it would happen to me. But right now, there seemed to be an intense aura radiating from her. We're just walking side by side. Why did it feel so nervous? I still didn't know who she was or what she wanted. What would she want with a creepy otaku like
お
me?
とといの
あ、いや、
She started talking out of nowhere, so I got surprised and said something weird sounding. She seemed to be nervous too. Her expression was tense. She was older than me, but actually quite innocent. It was quite moe. Not that I could do much more than glance at her every so often. I was too embarrassed to look her in the eye.
おとといのブラチュー見ましたよね。
うん。
私一箇所だけ今井進くんがセイラちゃんのピンチに駆けつけてきて助けてくれますよね。
あ、あれは、先週の回に伏線があったんだ。セイラの携帯が鳴ってるシーンが一瞬だけ挿入されてて、着信表示で進むの名前。
ああ、そういえばそんなシーンありましたね。
山田はそういう細かい伏線をあちこちに貼るのが好きなんだ。キンゴルでも似たようなことを。
山田く金
いや、山田っていうのはブラチューの監督の愛称だよ。で、山田がブラチューの前に監督やってたアニメが。
へえ。じゃあ山田さんって有名な監督さんなんですね。
Oh, she's a new anime
まあ
fan.
僕は好きな方かな。なんでかっていうと、
The reason is? I started lecturing her on anime, and the next thing I knew, we were at Animeite. We gotten, much faster than I expected. Gotten really excited and talked too much again. Yo was a great listener. Whenever I showed off some random piece of knowledge, she'd act really interested. I knew this whole thing was a trap, but I kept talking anyway. I'm so bad at speaking, and this had never happened before. It felt like chatting online. It's kind of weird.
なんだかドキドキしてきました。先に帰って。
うん。
Don't up and leave on me. Don't up and leave. Tense nervousness as she ordered the Seri post-awakening version figure. All I did was stand back and watch. I kept looking for a chance to run away, but she kept shooting nervous glances at me and I couldn't move. Afterwards, at her request, I showed her around the store. She was happy to find all kind of things she might want to buy, but I didn't have the energy left to smile back at her. Shame. He's trying. Yua came to school by train, so I was forced to go with her to Shinsen Station. She might look like an airhead, but she wasn't. Whenever she wanted something, she knew just how to make me give it to her. Black. She was a black character. Someone who's friendly and kind on the surface, but in their heart harbors malice towards others. Certain people, mostly otaku, find this gap between surface personality and inner thoughts to be very moe.
西条くんって携
You
帯
have
は
a
持ってないん
phone?
です
She
か？
suddenly asked me that just as we got to the station. A phone, huh? I shook my head and sat
持っ
slightly.
てないんですか？
You don't? Then I guess I won't be able to contact you.
連絡
Contact me for what? Are you going to keep bugging me instead of leaving me alone? You're this guy.
でも西条くん、私も持ってるからメールアドレ
Change email
どう
addresses.
して
フィギュアの発売日に取りに行かなくちゃいけませんよね。その時にまたまだ一人でアニメ8に
Clever.
それに
She was a clever one.
私西条くんともっと
You girls were truly terrifying.
仲良くなりたいから。
Was it just that I wasn't used to talking to people, or was she just a master persuader? Felt like she wasn't going to go home until I gave her my email address, and yet she seemed nervous as she looked up at me from behind her glasses. For some reason, I felt my will to resist draining away. My skin felt clammy and a cold chill was running down my spine, but I couldn't run away or say no. There was something strange about Yua, something that wasn't normal. I couldn't explain what exactly wasn't normal about her, but definitely wasn't normal. The next thing I knew, I'd written my email address on a scrap of notebook paper and handed it to her. She looked happy as she took it, then bowed and disappeared into the station. I stood there for a solid 10 minutes with a blank look on my face, like my soul had drained out of my body. And then? What do you think? What would you think about a girl like that? I don't know what to do. Oh, he's talking to the chat group. I mean, it feels like she's up to something. Don't know what to do. I mean, it feels like she's up to something. She has to be. Hey, are you listening, Grim? What's the name of this H game? That night I asked Grim about you. It felt like I wasn't getting anywhere on my own, but that wasn't the answer. But that was the answer I got. To be fair, this was the same reaction I had on my first time I talked to her. I was an idiot to ask you in the first place. Wait, lol, you're serious, man. You're such a lucky bastard. I don't think you had it in you. I thought you said you weren't even into 3D girls. It's not like that. Grim was reacting just like Misumi. Maybe the two of them were actually the same person. Misumi? Oh yeah, right. Well, guys like you, Nightheart, who've never dated a girl in your life, often quit being an otaku the minute you get a girlfriend. Your girlfriend's not gonna like those 10-minute monologues about school swimsuits. I mean, really. I prefer competition swimsuits to school swimsuits. You've got mail dork. Really? That's your email notification? Looked over in my inbox and the sender's name was you.
早速来た。
I got an email just now. Hooray! Emote, 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 emote. An email from a 3D girl. I'd never gotten one before. I gulped and opened it. Hi, sorry for sending an email out of the blue like this. It would make me very happy if you saved my email address in your contacts list. Sorry for bringing you along with me today. But it made me very happy, maybe because I'd never been to a store like that before. Or I think it was because I was with you, maybe. Lol. What time are you coming to school tomorrow? Or the reason I'm asking is I want to say hello from in the morning, kinda. I hope I can't read the rest of it. I hope we run into each other tomorrow, even if it's just by chance. By something you. Bye. I'll send you another email later. Good night. It was because oh no, it's just gonna go through all the stuff. Felt like she might be plotting something. No, I don't think so. It's totally normal. Basically just a hello. Shut up and upload it. Dude, don't do that. Please don't do that. Hello, it's me, XXX. Sorry for sending you an email out of the blue like this. Make me very happy if you send my email. He is literally typing it. He's literally copying the entire email over. Chrome was being obnoxious, so I decided to type the whole message for him. Of course, I didn't type in our personal information. Okay, cool. What is this? Seems like she's head over heels for you. Die in a fire. Help me out here, man. Some kind of trap. Right. It's all a big conspiracy. You're overthinking things, aren't you? It looks like she's into you. You're almost at the good ending. I mean, this is impossible. I'm a creepy otaku. Why would a cute girl from the real world want to date me? Lol, dude, you're just bragging now. Yeah, real. You are a creepy otaku. No girl would ever want to date you. Yet she does. Help me out here. She and you have a lot in common, right? There aren't many girls like that left. I know that, but she was too nice, it was creepy. So tell him that. Oh, but that just goes to show how much she likes you, right? She's an anime fan. She's the ideal girlfriend for an otaku anyway. Get it to go along with all your weird-ass fantasies. That actually sounded pretty appealing. This guy's advice is terrible. But at least it's giving him confidence, I guess. Bright side? No, that was just what she wanted me to think. She came on to you, be grateful. I'm not into 3D girls. Yeah, you want to date her really badly, right? This is your chance to stop being an otaku. You'll never get another chance like it, I'm sure of it. This is your chance. Stop being a wimp and go for it. Be like Nightheart, but in the real world, go for it. If only I could, life would be so much easier. Talking to her today and the day before taught me that. Could be fun, make me happy, but it also exhausting and a pain in the butt. If it was that hard, I'd be better off living a peaceful life relaxing with 2D girls. So I decided not to answer Yue's email. Why? What? The fire was burning. Long tongues of flame danced within the incinerator. Inside it, a sailor uniform and several textbooks were burnt to ash. The fuck is this? A house in the foothills overlooking the Sato Island inland sea. In the distance you could hear the whistles of the ships. A salt breeze gently shook the trees around the house. Despite a small girl in front of the incinerator, Kozo Orihara, was in a miserable state. Her eyes reflected the red light from the fire as she watched the sailor uniform and the textbooks burn to ash in the incinerator. Until yesterday, that had been her uniform and those had been her textbooks. She was the one who had put them in the incinerator, but she must have still felt some attachment to them because she kept staring at them. Suddenly she winced in pain and put her hands tightly over her ears. She opened her mouth, but that was all she could do. She's going to say something about the fucking eyes again. All she could do was grasp for breath. She kept shaking her head, begging for something to stop. When she collapsed, falling to the ground, she looked up exhausted at the sky. She stayed there unmoving for several minutes, and then suddenly she turned around. She was staring at the house of Evander. The house was made of wood and over 50 years old. Even though it was still daytime, much of the veranda was shrouded in deep shadow, leaving it in the darkness. She slowly staggered up and walked towards it. Just then her mother appeared as if she'd been waiting.
探してたのよ。もう荷物の整理はできたの？あさってにはもうこの家ともお別れなのね。
Mother stood behind her and looked at the peaceful city.
東京なんて行くの、梢ちゃん。いいお友達ができるといいわ。
Oh, she's moving to Tokyo, okay. Because I didn't reply to her mother's kind words. She didn't shake her head or nod. She just stared sadly at the incinerator in the corner of the yard and the flames that still rose from it. She's burning her old school uniform and textbooks. It was a week after, on a school day as usual. I headed to the school in a gloomy mood, staring down at my feet as I went. Fall was clearly at hand. The trees in Shoto Park were changing colors and I was starting to feel cold in my short-sleeved shirt. Since I spent all my time in my room, it felt strange when the seasons changed like this. It felt like summer to me. I'd spent the whole weekend playing ESO. Grim kept asking about Yua. I just kept ignoring him. Yua hadn't sent me any more messages. Maybe she'd given up when I hadn't replied. I mean, I certainly hoped so. Whenever I talked to her, I always felt myself wavering and starting to feel hope. But there was no point in a creepy otaku like me having hope. Lived my whole life without ever having hope fulfilled. That's why I'd lost interest in 3D girls. Okay. So my goal of this story is to make him have hope in life, I hope. That's what I'm going for. Please don't make me hope. Please don't have any hopes for me. Suddenly someone patted me on the shoulder from behind. Turned around, I expecting to see Nanami or Mitsumi, but I was surprised. Her cheeks were a little flushed. She was smiling at me, but for some reason she was out of breath. Hadn't she given up? Did she still have hopes for me?
やっと言えました。土日を含め、先週メールを送ったんですけど。
By the time I realized I'd nodded, it was too late.
よかった。返事がなかったから、てっきり届いていないかと思って、何度か送り直そうとしたんですけど、我慢しておいて正解でした。
Was I supposed to fall in love with her? Be her boyfriend? Then were we supposed to be a happy, loving couple? Impossible. That kind of thing was for other people, not me. I wanted to do it, but there was no way I could. Still didn't understand why you liked me. Anyway, I couldn't trust her. So it was just impossible.
日常？ずっと立ち止ま。
I started walking fast to leave her behind, but she jogged to catch up with me.
昨日、西条くんのクラスに行ったんですけど、いませんでしたよね。でも、元気そう。
たまにしか。
はい？
僕、たまにしか。みんなから引きこもりって思われた。
You're disgusted, aren't you? You've learned who I really am. Now you don't like me anymore, right? That's fine. I never expected anything in the first place. Go ahead, think I'm creepy, and then just leave me.
そうですか。 でも今日は会えてよかったです。
I don't know how to react to that. I found myself staring into her smile. Our eyes met, and I quickly lowered my gaze. Why wasn't she treating me like I thought I was
って
creepy?
いうかたまに
Anyway,
でも
if you're
学
coming
校
to
に
school
来
once
て
in
る
a
なら
while, I think you can't be
すいま
hikikomori.
せん分かったような
I'm
こと言
sorry,
っちゃ
but
って。
that's really none of my business. Real, but
苦痛だ
it's
よ
really hard.
だとしたら偉いです。
That wasn't something I expected to hear. What was impressive about a loser like me? You smiled gently at me. It was a smile that could heal a wounded heart. That's how it felt to me.
西条くんは普通なら普通は来られないですよ。
でも僕はオタだしキモいし。
私西条くんの話を聞くの。
I like hearing the
好きですよ。
things you have to say. Felt like she was holding me in a warm embrace. Was she telling me that it was okay for me to be maybe with her help I could go back to being a normal person?
大変予礼ですよ。
Suddenly I realized that there were barely any students left around us. That had all gone inside the
西
school
条くん
building.
それじゃあ私
And so they sprinted off to
今
class.
日の放課後
え
もしよかったら放課後中庭で待ってます。無理に来なくても失礼します。
She bowed politely and headed off to the third year wing. As I watched her go, I pinched my cheek. Just as I thought this wasn't a dream or a delusion. Yeah, it was just reality, brother. Spent the whole day's worth of class in a daze. I don't think I heard a single thing the teacher said. I just rested on my chin on my hand, stared out at the autumn sky. Neither my classmates nor the teacher paid the slightest bit of attention to me. But you paid attention to me. She wasn't like the rest of these assholes. I sat there the whole day thinking about her and indulging in one delusion after another, and before I knew it, school was over.
よタク、この前のメガネのことはうまくいってるんだろうな。おいおい、
Don't tell me you're holding back just because you're a neat.
向こうがお前のこと気に入ってくれてん
She
だ。
likes you whether you decide to date her or not. It's just polite to have.
そんなことしないよ。
おい、なんだよいきなり大声出して。
ユアとはそんなことしない。
あ？お前まだ言ってんの？なんで最初から諦めるんだよ。そろそろ引き
It's
こ
the
も
time
り
you
から卒
graduate.
業
It's
しよう
gonna
ぜ。
be hikikomori.
僕は引きこもりじゃない。
Hikikomori. That's not what I meant anyway. Miss Me only cared about sleeping with girls, he wouldn't understand. I ran past the confused looking Miss Me, quickly left the classroom. The fastest way to get to the courtyard from the second year classrooms was to go across the connecting corridor to the third year students building, and then head down the stairs at least as far as I knew. I didn't come to school that often, so I didn't know what led where, and didn't know where some places like most of the special classrooms were. So I was a little nervous when I went down the connecting corridor. There was a girl standing in the middle of the corridor staring up at the sky. She had a very stern expression on her face. She didn't seem lost in thought or anything like that. She was clearly in a place that would block traffic, but she wasn't moving at all. Come on, I know you hear my footsteps getting closer. Get out of the way, I'm in a hurry. For some reason, she felt like a DQN. I need to make sure not to get closer or let her notice me. Yeah, fair. Oh, just that I decided to call girl B.
Oi.
Crap, she talked to me. She going to mug me? Or was she going to try and say that she didn't like my face and then take me to a group of DQN friends so they could beat me up? Please no, what did I do to you? I glanced over at her to find she was glaring at me.
誰だ？
Who are you? Not sure how to answer that. It was Takumi Nishiji, obviously. Never met this girl and there's no way I should let her know that. She must be planning to do something really terrible to me.
すいません。
I bowed quickly, being careful not to look at her, and then ran away at top speed. I ran down the staircase in the third year wing and out the doors, then glanced behind me. The scary girl didn't seem to have followed me. Phew, the 3D world was an awful place. There were traps everywhere. Everywhere. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Life. Wish you could just play a video game and not have to worry about life. Never. Never. Okay, wait. I took a few deep breaths and looked around. The courtroom was between the pool and the school building. It was really more of a corridor than a yard. There were a few flower beds placed at the regular intervals where purple flowers bloomed. What those flowers are called, I didn't know. I saw Yua standing in front of one of the flower beds, staring down at it while she waited. She looks like she's going to cry. She was really here. She was really waiting for me. Not for anybody else, just for me. Yua wasn't going to betray me. Maybe I could believe in her after all. Maybe she could save me. Yua looked up and noticed me. Then her eyes went wide in surprise. I stood there looking away, embarrassed. I didn't know if it was okay for me to walk up to her or not. Why was she so surprised? Did I mess up by coming? As I tried to figure out what to do, she ran up to me.
びっくりしました。
She surprised me.
西条くんが本当にどうせ来てもらえないって諦めかけてたんです。でも待っててよかった。
I was surprised. Maybe she might have the same kind of mentality I did. The kind that was pessimistic about everything. But there was one big difference between you and me. I was pessimistic and didn't do anything. Yusa was pessimistic and took action. That was something I really respected about her. I wanted to be that way too, I thought.
一緒に
But is it
帰っ
fat?
てくれますか？
It's a high schooler. That's a high schooler, Caleb. That's a high schooler. I nodded in response to her question. I'm not nodding in response to your question. I'm nodding in response to her question. She and I headed for the school gate together. I felt kind of embarrassed as we walked home. It felt like the other students were shooting me jealous glances. The more I started to notice people staring, the more I started to freeze up. Should have known there was no way I could walk home with a girl. Yeah, no shot. Who the fuck is this lawyer-looking MF? I passed by a teacher I didn't recognize. Actually, the only reason I thought they were a teacher was because they were wearing a suit. But did we have any teachers that young? I really came to school, so of course I didn't know who teachers were or what they looked like. Sometimes I even forgot my homeroom teacher's face. Quabubs, what the fuck does that mean? The teacher in the suit looked around, seemingly lost, before heading towards the school building.
どうしました？
Is something wrong? Okay, Caleb, let me give you a little recap. This guy is a creep. Okay, he's a fucking creep. He lives in a container, which is cool. He's like the goat at an MMORPG with 3 letters that consumes his life. Not like real life at all. And he just... He has a delusion button where you can like make things more fucked up than they actually are. You can either lean into his anxiety or his anxiety about the killer, or you can lean into sexual fantasy. He just like you for real. So whenever I ask red or green, right? Red, green, or normal. Green is fully degenerate sexual thoughts. Red is, I think she's going to kill me, and nothing is reality. So we'll get there. Quickly shook my head, started walking alongside her again. Okay. The base was 10 minutes away from the school, which was a bit further than the train station at Shinsen. Yua used to go home. So I guess I was walking her home instead of the other way around. Out of sheer habit, green for the next 10 questions. Only need one hand, W. I already said I have to cut them out of... I'm gonna have to go cut them out of the YouTube stream. I'm not gonna lie. Like when they get uploaded, I'm gonna have to cut them out. Cutting it through diagonally shaved a minute or so for the comedy.
西条くんって朝よくこの公園で
She is a stalker though. Like not even low key. She is definitely a stalker. How does she know? Cause she stalks you.
よく見かけたんです。
I saw you a lot, but some days you were here
い
and
る
some
時と
days
い
you
ない
weren't.
今日。
And
ようやく
today
そ
I
の謎が
finally
解けまし
figured
た。
out the reason. It's because you only come to school a few days a week, right?
別にそれがダメって言ってるわけじゃなくてですね。
You suddenly stopped and looked over at the bench where I ate breakfast. Right here, it was empty.
なんだかここに座っているあなたの背中はすごく
She suddenly leaned forward just a little and ran her fingers across the back of the bench.
何度も見かけるうち
The
に
more I saw you, the more I began to
だん
wonder
だん気
about
になっ
you.
てきて
The bench was right in front of the fence surrounding the lake. Since I always sat facing the lake, I didn't need to worry about gazing at me. The delusion's coming, I can feel it. There was a small watermill right next to it, which was another reason I liked it. It served to partially
こ
hide
こ
me.
最近は 姿を見かけなかった日は心配でご飯も喉を通らなかったりしてたんです。
Dude, she's creepy as well. She's starting to look creepy to me. I'm starting to understand this guy. Really, I hadn't noticed her watching me at all. You see, now is he delusional or is he actually real? Is she actually crazy? I can't tell yet. It's too
バ
early.
カみたいですよね。
It's silly, isn't it, worrying so much about a person I'd never even talked to? Yes, you're also weird.
話しかける勇気もなかったので。
Why was she acting like a stalker at first? She wasn't a stalker. She was just really worried about me, maybe. She is still acting like a stalker. Creepy.
ちょっと座ってみてもいいですか。西条くんがどんな景色を見ていたのか。
I want to know what it is you were always looking at. I didn't really have a reason to say no. I nodded, still looking at the table, at the lake. She put her bag on the bench and then quietly sat down. Then she sat upright with good posture looking at the lake. It was so quiet and peaceful. She was right there with me. The soft wind made ripples on the water and gently rustled through her hair. Was this what it was like to have a normal life? It was just a normal day, a normal situation, so why did it feel like I was
こ
about
こ
to
で
cry?
朝食をとるのって気持ちよさそうですよね。
Feels like a nice place to have breakfast. I watched her from the side as she quietly spoke. Also, this guy doesn't even have a cell phone, by the way. If we were in an H game, this would totally be when I asked her to be my girlfriend. She'd say yes, we'd kiss, then we'd be in the good ending, depending on the route. Maybe we'd even engage in some naughty outdoor fun. See? He's a creep. Also, this girl was following him. He got hit by a bike. She helped him to his room. He turns the lights on and she's busy digging through all his fucking porn. And she's like, this one looks kind of interesting. Like, he's not normal. He also always refers to normal people as 3D people, and he only likes 2D people.
私も今度やってみようかな。
She's the one. Yeah, I know she's the one. She's the one for a creep like this. Maybe I'll try it too sometime. She tilted her head to look at me. Unable to speak, I turned my gaze towards her bag. As I stared at the 3 Gero frogs strapped on it, I cursed myself for being too lame to talk to a girl. Okay. Here comes delusion. So, wait a second. Okay, so we can either go green delusion, which is sexual. We can go no delusion, which is reality. Or we can go red delusion, which is I think she's a murderer. I know you want to vote for green. Should we go green? Yes. Okay, fine. I'll go green. But it could fuck things, dude. Okay, let's try it. Did I just see something? What was I looking at? Okay, so the delusion is about what am I looking at? Am I gonna see a murder weapon? Reality? Or something fucked up? You see, like this makes me want to do... I actually want to see what it is. You know what I mean? Or should we go delusion? Thoughts? Thoughts and feelings? Last chance. I'll take your vote. I value your vote. My moderator must decide if we go green, normal. I don't want to go red. It's green or normal. But I know you want green. Okay, we'll go green. Gero Froggy, a character popular with high school girls. I'd seen it somewhere before. Where? Ah, but you see, I accidentally... CS meme. I accidentally clicked on green earlier, not knowing what it would do with his sister. Now, the frog is linked to his sister. I don't want to see that, but I will go anyway. Because that is what chat wants. They want green. Yeah, it's his sister. Oh, right. Nanami had the same strap on her phone, that was all. That's right. What was I thinking? Why did I feel so scared all of a sudden? I was just being a dork. Nanami said that Gero Froggy was really popular with teenage girls. It wouldn't be unusual at all for Yue to have some sort of that stuff. Yeah, that's right. Really, having a vivid imagination could be a handicap sometimes. It got exhausting being afraid of your own delusions. Haha.
西条くん
Nishijo. She smiled, looking up at me, tilting her head. I quickly forced myself to smile back.
それ本当に流行ってゲロカエルン
Huh? What kind of reaction is that? Why do you look so tense? Did I say something wrong? All I did was talk about Gero Froggy, so why? The smile disappeared from her face and she turned her head down so I couldn't see what her expression was like anymore. The bad feeling hadn't gone away, the deja vu I'd felt since I'd seen the 3 Gero Froggies on her bag. Had I really seen them before? Oh! Yes, we have seen them before. I'd seen 3 Gero Froggies somewhere before and Yua was afraid that I'd remember where. Yeah, she was next to you in the thingy. A sense of disrupt welled up within me and began to take control of my heart. Should I trust her or not?
ゲロカエル西条くんも
Her voice was
知って
trembling.
る本当に大人気ですよね私もあんまりその
I don't really think it's that cute.
何人かの友達か
But
ら
a few of my
もらっ
friends
ちゃって
gave me these. The next thing I knew, I had 3 of
気
them.
がついたら
Her words were sounding more and more unnatural as she talked. These sound like lies. She wasn't looking at me, she wasn't looking at me and smiling. A moment ago, she'd been so peaceful, so kind. I felt so hollow and empty. Please don't say another word, I whispered in my heart.
見せてあげましょうか
She reached out towards her bag and tried to take the straps off.
ちょっと待ってく
Her
ださい
hand
ね
was shaking a little. Maybe she was nervous because she couldn't get them off.
変だなどうして外れないんでしょう
And here comes the truth. She finally yanked off. She yanked one off by. She yanked one off by force, knocking the bag off the bench. It hadn't been zipped, so her notes and textbooks went spilling everywhere.
私だ
Don't look at the notes. Just a few minutes ago, I would have thought the whole scene was very moe. But now, all I could do was stare in shock because, by chance, one of the notebooks that fell to the ground had fallen open. And the small memos and newspaper clippings in it had scattered everywhere. It must have been some kind of scrapbook because all the clippings and memos had to do with one subject. I could see it clearly. New gen.
なんて
My voice was hoarse. She was hurriedly trying to pick up the clippings and notes and stuff them back into her bag. She stood up, holding it tightly to her chest. Her smile was gone, replaced with an awkward expression.
それは
What is that? She didn't answer me. Why won't you answer me? Come on, say something. If you don't answer, I'll think you're hiding something. And just when I was about to believe you, just when I thought you were going to be on my side, just when I was starting to believe that. Okay, so I have no idea how the delusion shit works anymore, to be honest. No clue.
誰も信じちゃダメ誰の言葉にも耳を傾けちゃダメ
You have no idea who that is? That's a figurine from an anime that he has delusions about. Sadra was right all along. All 3D girls were garbage. Even Yua didn't like me. She was just trying to get close to me for some reason of her own. Maybe she was going to turn me over to the police. Maybe she was going to threaten me. This was awful, just awful. Just when I was close to forgetting about all that murder. The cops had never come to say anything. I'd convinced myself that I'd never have to deal with it again. I didn't want to get involved. What was Yua after? I turned around so I could run. Why are you running away? But Yua grabbed my wrist from behind. You're running? Okay, I'm gonna get back to it. Yeah, good luck. Her voice made me shudder. It was so cold I thought I might freeze. She didn't seem anything like the girl I'd been talking to a moment ago. And she was gripping my wrist with incredible strength. She was holding it so tightly that it was physically painful. I thought for a moment that she might crush my bones, it hurt so bad. I tried to shake her off. She wouldn't let go. Instead, she pulled me closer and I almost fell backwards.
逃げるの
You running? Question mark. She whispered in an emotionless voice right behind me and right into my ear. Whoa. Wait a second. Shivered and slowly turned around. Reet monkey? I've never been a reet monkey in my life. Twitch chat is confused because I don't have it. I don't have my YouTube chat on my screen like I normally do. I can't remember how to set that up. Color in her eyes was
逃がさ
insane.
ないよ
Won't let you get away, you know?
騙してたことは謝るけどお互い様だし
Apologize for tricking you, but you weren't honest with
あ
me
なただっ
either.
て隠してたこと
You were hiding something too, weren't you? Hiding something? There was only one thing I could think of. Somehow, for some reason, she knew that I'd witnessed the crucified corpse and the killer. That's why she approached me. Yeah, of course she did. Things are always too good to be true. She really was a clever one. Everything she'd ever said to me was a lie. That she'd gotten curious about me when she saw me for the first time. That she liked Bloodtune, that she wanted to go buy the Sayori post-awakening version figure on the day it came out with me. What a calm voice, XD. Who, me? No. When she'd smiled at something I'd said, when she'd said she wanted to get to know me better. When she said she was worried that I didn't come to school, even when she said I'd impressed her by coming to school. It was all lies. I clenched my fist in rage and anger. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Why was I ever willing to believe her?
本当はもっと時間をかけて調べたかったんだけど、バレちゃったからしょうがないよね。
Fuck, she was lying, dude. And yeah, I thought there was hope for this man. No, he is just a fucking delusional creep.
あなたに聞いてもらいたい話がある。
There's a story I want you to
聞いてくれ
hear.
るよね。
But listen, right?
聞かないなんて言わない
You
よ。
won't tell me you're not going to
あ
listen,
な
right?
たは聞くべきよ。
You should listen.
聞いて。
うん
聞くでしょ。聞かないなら。
If I won't listen, then what? She's like a totally different person now. That peaceful, easygoing manner she'd had was completely gone. She looked cold and unapproachable with a terrible intensity about her. Her words were cold as ice, as cold as death itself. The signs of weakness and helplessness she normally showed were nowhere to be found. I didn't want to hear those words. I tried to close my ears, but I couldn't. She still had my wrist in her grasp. She wasn't gripping it as tightly as before, but she still wouldn't let go. I couldn't move my hand. With her free hand, she reached into her bag and took out something metallic and showed it to me. It's the cross. I gasped in shock. My heart felt like it was about to leap out of my chest. My mind began to race and I had my free hand over my ear, but I let it drop and heard her voice sounding
こ
slightly
の十字架
disappointed.
に見覚えあるよね。
Of course I did. I knew exactly what it was. It looked like a cross, but it was actually a stake. Not many stakes had such an elaborate design. At least I'd only seen one. At least I'd only seen some once before. Yeah, when you saw a murder happen, the night they were scattered on the road. And the murderous chick, the demon woman. That night pinning the corpse to the wall.
やっぱり知ってるのね。
So you
知っ
do
てるんで
recognize
しょ
it.
知ってるに決まってる。知らないなんて言わせない。
I won't let you say you don't
知ってなくちゃ
recognize
おか
it.
しい。
You have to recognize it.
知ってるよね。
You recognize it.
知ってるよね。
I shook my head desperately. An awful sweat was forming on my brow. All I could do was try to wipe it off. As I shook my head, no.
これ。
This was in your room.
あなたの部屋。
In your room.
ベッドの下。
Under the bed.
床に落ちてた。
On the floor.
落ちてたの。
Lying
落と
there.
したよね。
You dropped it there, didn't you?
それとも捨てた。
Or did you throw it
と
away?
にかく落ちて
Either way, it was there.
た。落ちてたの。
Lying there. When did she search my room? The day we first met? When I hurt my leg and she walked me home? Was she staring with shining eyes and a cute face at the Sayori figure?
この杭。
The steak isn't made in Japan. It's extremely
そ
rare.
れとニュージェネ第3の事件で
And it's
使わ
just
れ
like
た
the
杭と
steaks
同
used in
じ
the third new gen
同じな
killing.
の
It's exactly
同
the
じよ
same.
ね同じなのは間違いない同じよ
It's the exact
遺
same.
体を壁に貼り付けにした杭と同じ
I was sure of it. This girl thought I was behind the new gen killings. She thought I was the murderer. She was trying to be some kind of detective. Yua Kusunoki, teen detective. You know what I thought? Die, bitch. I meant it too. They weren't just empty words. I mean, this stuff might have worked in an anime or a video game. But I knew that her theory had a fatal flaw. I'd seen the killer. I'd seen her with my own eyes, that demon. The girl whose name I didn't know. She wore a sume uniform. She was close. So, what? She looked down and sighed softly. Her grip relaxed and... Oh,
それ以上でもそれ以下でもないです
I just wanted to see if you knew or not.
あなたが知
wasn't
ってる
actually
か
trying to
どう
ask
かを
you
確かめた
anyway.
かっただけ
What does she mean by yet?
それじゃあ
Let me ask you one
も
more
う
thing.
あなたには
Can you
予知能力
see
があります
the
か
future? The ability to see the future before it happens. Yeah, I know what that means.
は
My jaw dropped. See the future? The hell was she talking about? What did that have to do with a murderer? I stood there confused as Yua reached into her bag and pulled out several full-color
予知能
printouts.
力があるって思わなきゃ
If you can't see the future, then I don't know how to explain you having these images. Oh, she's talking about the ones from the thingy. From her computer.
あなたはどうして
Why did you have
ニュージェネ第
Why
3
did
の
you
事
have a
件の再
recreation
現画
of the
像を持っ
third
ている
New
んです
Gen
か
killing?
しかもこの
And
画
these
像
were
が流
from
出
the
した
day
のは
before the
事
murder
件
too.
あなたの使った PC にキ
They
ャ
were
ッシ
in
ュ
your
が残って
computer's
ました
cache.
違う
Don't lie now. I got this photo from some guy named Shogun they'd never even met before that day. I didn't make them. They should still be in my download history. I know I could show that to you. Wait, where did she get those? How did she know they were still in my computer's cache? When she came to my room, she wasn't there long enough to search my computer.
君が将軍か
Was she trying to set me up? Was Yua behind this whole thing? Was she the one of the New Gen killers, trying to use me as a scapegoat to distract the police from the truth? Oh, it's getting tense.
助けて
This wasn't fair. Why me? Because I'm a creepy loser? Because I don't have any friends? Yua just shook her head
その
silently.
画像は
I found these pictures on the PC in room
ルーム37
37
の PC から拾ったんです
at Cafe.
あなたの PC も
I
で
wanted
き
to
れば
search your
調べたかった
computer
んですけ
too,
ど
but I didn't have time.
その機
The
会
room
は
next
さす
to
がにあ
room
りませんでし
37,
た
the one I always used at Cafe. She really did think she was some kind of detective. She looked just the slightest bit sorry as she stared at me. For just a single second, she looked like the old Yua. She kept that expression on her face and wrestled through her bag again. This time she took out a sheet with printed text on it and offered it to me. I had an awful premonition. The logical part of my mind told me I shouldn't look. But I had to. If I didn't find some way to resist, they'd pin it on me.
それがあ
That
なたのす
is
べて
everything you are. Everything I was? Did she steal all my private information? Was she a hacker? My heart pounded as I looked down at the printout, but instead of my private information, it was just a chat log. It was a log of Nightheart and Shogun. And all the images that Shogun had sent.
そのログ
There's something strange about that log, right? Huh? What's strange? It was just a normal chat log. I remembered that. Is there anything weird about it?
ナイトハルトと将
Look
軍
at how
は
Nightheart and Shogun
発言
talk.
時間が全
The
然噛み合っ
timestamps
てない
don't
んです
match at all. Eh? (9/28, 9/28). They're all from 9/28, except for no. The images were sent at 9/29. They were sent from the next day. At a completely different time. He was messaging at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she was messaging at 8 o'clock in the evening the next day. What the fuck?
Oh.
Okay, I didn't even notice that.
そこにあるナイトハルト
This one labeled Nightheart there is you talking on September
発言
28th
時間は
around 3 a.m.
そして翌日
And then the next day,
あ
you
な
went
た
to
は
At Cafe.
西条くんが
You
会
always
った
go
時
to
に
At
行くの
Cafe
は
after you
学
leave school.
そして学校に行くの
And you
は
go to school
週に
roughly
2.5
2.5 times
回
per week. I asked one of your
あなたの
classmates, and they
クラスメ
said
ート
the
から聞いたん
days
です
you
けど
went to school last week
先週あ
were
なたが月曜日
Monday,
水曜日
Wednesday, and
木
Thursday.
曜先週の月曜日は
The Monday of
9
last
月
week was
29
September 29th, the same day
将
Shogun
軍
was
の
in the
発言
chat.
時間と
What is she talking about?
ルーム37
I
の
looked at the
PC
chat
の
from
チャ
the
ット
PC
ログを
room
調べさせ
in
て
room
もらいました
37 too.
そこから分か
And
っ
what I
た
learned was, she paused for just a moment, before looking right at me and delivering a cruel truth.
あなた一人の
This
自
whole
殺
thing was an act you put on. No shot. No shot. Don't look at me.
将軍は
Shogun is. Don't look at me.
あなた自身
Shogun is you? What?
何も見たくない何も聞きたくない
I don't want to see anything. I don't want to
時
hear
間は
anything.
一定じゃない
Time isn't
記憶
constant.
には矛盾があ
Memories
る
can't contradict each
視
other.
界にはエラーがあ
There
る
are errors in your
地球は
vision.
回って
The
ない
earth doesn't spin.
これはきっとゲーム
This
な
is
ん
all
だ
just a game. I turned on my computer and took a bite out of a fish sausage. What is going on?
僕
Okay.
は
I'm not me.
僕じゃない
The Seiritan wallpaper came up on the
僕がい
monitor.
るべき
The
世
world
界
where
は
I belong. I booted up ESO without the
こ
slightest
こじゃないん
hesitation.
だ
Isn't this one? Finish chapter 1. Okay. We might have to might have to save it on chapter 1. Might have to call it a chapter 1. That might have to be it. I might have to leave it at chapter 1 and only start chapter 2 tomorrow. I like that plan, but holy, that's insane. Like, what the hell is going on? So he's both characters. That ain't real. That ain't real. Okay, we're gonna return to title. We got a part out the way. I'm happy with that. Holy. I am so confused. I'm deathly confused. However, we will be back for another stream. Maybe later. Definitely tomorrow, but maybe later. Because I don't want to finish this game too fast, and it's also actually breaking my brain a little bit. So I'm gonna call it the day for now. I will be back. We will have fun. This game, but it's driving me a little bit crazy. Just a little bit. Just a little bit crazy. Just a little bit crazy. Ever so slightly. But we will make do. Maybe we'll get to another chapter in a little bit later. But for now, it's been fun. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.